Hello, everybody. Hi, everyone. We are going live in the Late Night Crafty Club. Woo! It's Friday night. It's time for my friends to gather up and get our crafty on. And we have to play our theme song to welcome all of our friends. I feel like I'm talking to a bunch of little kids. Come out and play with me. Where's all my playmates at? If you are watching this on a replay, as many of my players do, I am so glad that you are here. Hopefully one of these days you'll be able to catch me live. Hi everybody. Hi Emily. Hi Susan. Hi Michelle. Hi Gina. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Climb up my apple tree. Hi Mari. All right everybody. Hi Christine Middlecamp. Welcome, welcome. Hi Corey. Hi Cindy. Hi Sandra. Hi Esther. Hi Julie. All right, everybody, get your hands up. We're clapping in the club. Y'all know this song. I cannot believe how many times I sang this song when I was like in the 4th grade. I feel like it was the daily song we used to sing on the playground as we did that little clapping, which obviously I still remember. Hi everybody! Hi everyone! Hi Lisa! Hi Sherry! Hi Melissa! Kesia! Larissa! Hi Valerie! Amber's really getting into it at this point in the song. She's just singing with all her heart. Forever. I just love the way she sings that song. Welcome, 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 everybody. I see all your little faces. I see Miss Mallory all the way from Australia. And hi, Miss Paula. Paula, my little jet-setting friend who just came back from Tokyo the other day. And just in time for the Late Night Crafty Club. Hi, Elena. Hi, Nancy. So there are two worlds colliding right now. I have my friends on Facebook and my friends on the YouTube channel. So you can either pick which, video you want to watch. Some people find it's easier to watch from YouTube and some enjoy it from Facebook. So we do make it available in both. So you can pick your platform now. I am going to start doing more things on my YouTube channel. I know right now it looks as if I have disappeared from social media. I've been giving that a lot of thought. What must it look like to everybody else? Like, where is she? I think the last thing, let's investigate this, shall we? I'm going to call myself out right now in front of all y'all. I'm in Texas, so I can say y'all. Yeah, I'm just saying it all over the place. Okay, so officially my very last Instagram post, which is this one right here, which was during Camp Reset, one of my favorite spreads that I did in the playbook. There we go. Okay, so this was the little handbook that we had during camp. It was dated August 3rd, 2018. Shame on me. So there was a time where it felt like Instagram was my full-time job because I posted every 2 hours, every single day. Holidays, weekends, vacations, I was like a machine. And I do not know how to explain it. I think I mentioned this in the last show, but I feel like I sort of lost my mojo with Instagram. Part of it is because I finally am beginning to get to the point where I want to pivot and kind of be the reset girl in its entirety with what that means to me. And it's not just, crafting and being creative, which is what I know the majority of people who are watching me right now, who are on my Instagram, have followed me in the past. That's what you guys came for. So I guess I'm just having this I'm going through this little period of very odd that I'm just, I guess just trying to figure out how to really just, I'm going through a reset, if you will. And I'm just kind of I'm ready to come out and be this new, be kind of like the Reset Girl 2.0. I'm not sure why I feel a little gun shy about that, to be honest with you. I'm just saying, I'm like going through something right now, you know? And so, but one thing that matters very much to me is that at least in the live, you know, show that I do here in the Late Night Crafty Club, and I know that the majority of people who watch the show are actually watching the replay and not the live. And I hope that if you are watching the replay, that one of these days you will get to join a live broadcast, because it's so much fun. I have a fantastic community of crafty playmates waiting for you. Just literally hundreds of people in this chat room that can kind of talk to each other and share where they're from and what they're crafting and working on. And if those of you who are part of the Reset Girls Crafty Club on Facebook, there is a post in there for you to share your project that you are working on during this live broadcast, and you can go in there and post your picture at the end of the show so that we can all oogle it. I do want to call out Miss Sarah Sidori because it is she's in Germany and it's 3 a.m. there. So 3 a.m. is an ungodly hour. It's a very weird hour, and it's just like I am so honored that you are giving up sleep to be here with me. So thank you very much, Miss Sarah. And I am so happy to see all your little faces. Hi, Miss Angela. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Miss Kimberly. Hi, Celia. Hi, Jillian. It's really fun to see your little Nanette. Stacy Johnson. Hi, Justina. Hi, Tony. I could just be on here all night long. Hi, hi, hi to all my friends. I just love coming into the chat room and seeing everybody. I know all your little, you know, I recognize your little names, and I'm so happy when I get to see some of you guys who don't always get to come to a show, and some of you are my diehard veterans. You show up for everyone, which I am always, I'm just so honored, really, because let's face it, there's a ton of things you could be doing with your time right now. So it's very fun to have this live show. It's an opportunity for you to like pull out some crafting and allow me to keep you company while you are crafting on a project, having some little me time, perhaps shutting the kids out, locking them out of your little sacred space so that you can spend some time with your crafty friends, which I know a lot of you girls, this is the wonderful thing. Like, this is a legit situation here, because a ton of you guys who watch the Late Night Crafty Club, who show up for these, went on a cruise with me back in October. There was about 110-ish people total on the cruise, and so many of you guys like were familiar with each other's names. You're like part of the community for a while, so it was really fun that you got to meet each other in real life, and it was fun to see your little faces in real life. I'm going to mention that we do have another cruise. However, Miss Paula of Crafty Destinations, she went ahead and made an executive decision. And I totally agree with the decision, but we are going to be pushing back the cruise that we thought we would do this year. We're going to push it back one more year to 2020. And the reason why is because I think that I feel like the amount of time needed to kind of save up for a cruise, you know, people just need to feel more comfortable with their budget and doing that. And I probably would want more time too. So we discussed it, and that's what we're going to do. So I really, truly hope that if that sounds fun to you, to craft with a bunch of girlfriends on a cruise, that you will consider coming, because we had an absolutely fantastic time, and I really want to bring that experience back. I want to make that available, because for a lot of us, a trip like that is just such an incredible experience and adventure. It's something totally outside of our comfort zones. And you can be like changed from things like that. You know, you're just changed as a person when you get to get yourself out of your little, you know, your life that you're in, and get to go bond with people. And it's just wonderful. And for the fact that most of us are introverts, it is the most introvert friendly event that you'll ever go to. And we had an introvert friendly dance party, and it was fantastic. So I will mention this and continue to mention this cruise on our Late Night Crafty Clubs, because a lot of you are exactly the kind of girls that should come on a cruise like that. Before I go any further, I do want to mention something. Mr. Crafty?
Yeah.
Could you please bring my milk hither? Okay.
Which one do you want?
The
measuring cup?
Yeah, but cold, please. If you have to, like, dump it out. And okay. So I just have to mention something. I am kind of a dummy. I did not think through earlier today when I was food prepping. I chopped up tons of vegetables today, bagged them all up in Ziploc bags. And I did not think through at all. I completely forgot when I was chopping up jalapenos that I should have been wearing plastic gloves. And thank you. My
time for the chuckle
hand is burning like fire, and it has been for like a couple hours now. So Mr. Crafty was so sweet. He ran up to the little grocery store on the corner here because we don't have any dairy products. We don't have any animal products in our refrigerator anymore. So he had to go get me some milk. So I have been dipping my hand in this cold milk, trying to get relief from the burning jalapeno oil. Now I Googled this. If any of you have some great ideas, it is killing me. So I don't even know if I'm going to be able to craft very much tonight. So I figured I have lots of things to chit chat with you guys about. But I hope to, but it's hurting. It stopped hurting after soaking it before, so maybe I can buy myself some time. Okay, so here, let me catch up with where we're going because I got behind. So I know a lot of you guys, so it's so burning. Thank you so much. Okay, now I've frozen my hands and I gotta, whoa. And, oh, Miss Kimberly, I'm so sorry to hear that you were involved in an accident. And a hit and run at that. I think when people do hit and runs, that's just like such a cowardly thing to do. Okay. So, okay, so let me catch you up to speed. What's going on? For those of you who are new to the show, I do not normally have milk soaking antics going on, so I apologize for that. It's a little bit unprofessional, I know. But normally what happens with the Late Night Crafty Club is I tend to be a bit chatty for about the first hour of the show, and then we start crafting. So, or I should say I start crafting because you guys can jump in and start crafting anytime you want. One of the things I encourage people to do on the show is to craft with the Crafty Club playbook, which we have available in our shop. And you download this thing, print it out, and then you have it. I went ahead and put discs on mine, so it's disc bound. And it is this fun book that we'll be working on all year. This is just the winter section, so we'll have 4 sections total. And speaking of the book, I just want you guys to know that you might not see me a ton right now because I am, like I said, being very contemplative and working on projects behind the scenes. But I wanted to let you know that we do have other books in the making. So there will be a book for the Faithful Life Club. It's going to be called, well, I won't announce what it's going to be called because I want it to be a full surprise. So we'll have a Faithful book is coming out. I'm going to be doing a book that's mostly focused on just memory keeping, but not just any type of memory keeping. This is going to be memory keeping all about you. So like a very you-focused memory keeping in a very fun, simple type of memory keeping, because I know in this community, although I have some rock star crafters, I get the feeling that there's not a ton of memory keeping scrapbooking in ladies in the group. And I could be wrong, but I just don't see that a lot in this community. So I just think it's something like we all get really into decorating our planner. The playbook has been a huge success. So I think like that's kind of more, I feel like that's more my audience, where I have more of just like, we're just like kind of like, I don't know what the right word, I hate using the word average because I think all of us are quite extraordinary in our own way. I would just say we're kind of like, crafting's fun for us. It's not, but I think that a lot of us are kind of like, I want to do simple crafting. I want to do things that are easy, you know. Some of us are constricted by space, by budget. So I have always kind of gravitated towards simple crafting too. I especially, if I were going to pick anything that I would say I'm like passionate about, it would be more of like collaging. You guys see me slap, you know, papers together all the time. Collaging, art journaling, things like that. Just real super simple. I have kind of spent less time decorating planners. In fact, I haven't even really been keeping a planner because I don't really have anything to plan right now. I kind of took a little step back, you know, and so I could kind of reassess. Like I told you that we were, you know, going to do in January is kind of do some slow planning, kind of plan out your, you know, course for the year. And for me, that meant like, well, what planner do I even want to use this year? So I have a planner team. I have a couple different things that I'm doing for documenting, but one of them is my own special little planner. Now it doesn't have a cover. I'm using a page from one of the monthly, this is one of the monthly spreads that I have in our shop right now. We have monthly planning pages, and then there's the taking care of my life and taking care of my business. We have these letter size planning pages. So I asked my fabulous graphic designer to help me kind of like we sketched out like this is exactly what I want. So I had her do some pages just so that I could kind of like plan everything for TRG. So everything like about the communities, newsletters, my blog, which I need to get going on that myself. Any major events or launches that I'm personally doing for TRG, any projects, YouTube. So like for the whole month of March, I wanted to just plan everything out in one fell swoop. And so I have these fabulous planning pages for the whole year. And then I have this fantastic. So this page right here ended up getting a makeover, and now it looks like this. So I still have my tracker for a 30-day challenge of whatever you want to, you know, do. And then the goals that I have for these three categories, which is TRG, YouTube, and all the communities. So, and then I have my monthly spread, which is undated. And then I have my life documented. So now I have a page to document things like stuff that I'm into, what I'm obsessed with. I have the monthly wrap up, which we currently have now, but now it has it's full color now, and it has a new little layout. And then these are the weekly pages, which I think these are super fun. I've never seen a layout like this. So here's your master task list for the week. You kind of like put everything there, and then starting down here on it has a Monday start, and look, Saturday and Sunday are even, like they are equally as large as all the other days. Usually they get short shifted, and I think a lot of people, especially those of you who work outside of the house, those are probably your busier days than your regular weekly days. So they're split into two. So I have, for me, I have like events, and then I have tasks that are separated. And then I have a done list. Because I thought, you know what, look how many times we finish things, but they weren't on our list and we still want credit for them. So I want to keep a track of like things I got done. Perhaps I didn't plan on getting them done, but I want to know and be able to look at it. So every week there's that done list to look at. And then so here are all the pages for 4 weeks. And then it moves to a new month, and then it's now mustard yellow. So this, I have the whole book for the whole 12 months, and then they change color. They change color. And I am so in love with the details of this, like that little red line that makes it look like it's actually to give you like a little checkbox, but to me it reminds me of like the school paper we grew up looking at in school. So that has been super fun. So this is the planner I use for doing TRG. just that. But I need a planner outside of TRG for like just regular life, like my morning routine and my evening routine and other things that I'm doing. So I've been sort of experimenting with things, and I bought a couple things to kind of show you of stuff that I have been contemplating, because I'm getting a bit crazy in my ambition right now, as you guys all probably can appreciate, because I think all of us, as being like inherently planner people, we all get kind of excited to try something new, thinking this is going to be it. This is going to be the answer. That's why we own so many planners. But I know, like, about myself, and this is probably true of a lot of you too, is fundamentally, before I'm really a planner girl, I'm a lister girl. I just love making a list. To me, a list is paramount. I don't really have a ton of like appointments or things like that. I really don't anymore. And because we live in an RV and we're always, traveling, it just, my life is different now. And so it's kind of weird. And I'm still trying to like find my, like, what's my perfect planning setup? Because I feel like I waste a lot of pages sometimes because I don't really have anything going on really. So I know a lot of you guys can appreciate that, because you guys being in this community, we all get exposed to so many kinds of planners and ideas of planning. And so I went ahead and did, had the planning sheets that these they're based on the taking care of my life and taking care of my business format. And I just basically updated them to like a 2.0 version. And it was a lot of fun, because I was Skyping with Kelly, she plays a dual role. She's both my friend and my graphic designer. So I literally sat on the Skype call with her to like, move that, change this, fix that, so that I had exactly what I wanted. I'm telling you, if I like knew how to use Adobe Illustrator, I would be so dangerous. Because I know what I want it to look like. So that was... You knew someone who knew it, who could teach you. Mr. Crafty is always getting on me saying I need to learn Illustrator. And I have tried taking an Illustrator class, but it didn't work out for me. I just don't think Illustrator and I were meant to be friends. Microsoft Publisher is more my jam. It is a little bit old school. It's not nearly as sophisticated. It's just a little bit more low tech, but it gets the job done. I have made plenty of things that I have released to the community that were made in Publisher, and you guys didn't know any better, so meh. So, okay. Well, Sarah, I am so glad you joined us, girl. I see that you are signing off, because we can all agree, 3 a.m. is very, very late. I know Miss Mallory, she always shows up for us, and she's in Australia, so I'm guessing, let's see, you are practically I think you're like in a new day right now. If it's 8 o'clock, yeah, I'm so terrible with the time. I know, like, one time I flew to Fiji, and it was like 23 hours ahead. So you're like, or am I thinking, you know what? I'm thinking of how long it took to get there. I think it was 23 hours of flight. But you were actually like, you skipped a day. So you were like, not just, because it was like on the dateline. So you actually like skipped a whole day into like the next day. So it made it really hard to call home, because you were like, well, what? I don't even know what day it is where you guys are. So I get a little confused with my Australian friends. I probably should keep those little cute little clocks. I should keep a little row of clocks that shows where all of like my community members are. Like, here's Australia. I know I have people in South Africa, and I have people in like the Netherlands and Spain. So I should have like a little thing, and then I'll always know what time it is where you guys are. Okay. Let's see. I am scrolling through really quick. Celia asked me if I've tried InDesign, and I have. I did take graphic design courses, so I understand what design is. I understand the components of design. It's learning the program that I didn't complete. didn't do. So, and thank you, Janet. She says Publisher rocks, which just validates my entire position. And you can just get by in life with Publisher. Why make it complicated? So, Susan says Germany is 6 hours ahead of EST. So that's kind of like another funky time thing, because let's see, if it's 9 there, then yes, that is 3 a.m. 6:00. So, I just got a note saying that our encoder settings, my hand's all milky now. But hello. Hi, Karen. Hi, Trish. So Leanne Quinn says it's 1:23 p.m. Saturday. Okay, so you guys are still within. And Denise, who is going by her super secret name of Thomas, is here in the club. Denise uses her husband's account, so I remember her mentioning that last time. So, and then Kelly says Australia is 16 hours ahead of where I am in Colorado. So it's kind of challenging at times to have a show that is broadcasted can be accessed internationally, because it makes me want to, I wish there was like some perfect time that made it fair for everybody. I did back in October have an international late night crafty club. So on that show, I think there was maybe about 75 Australians that came, and well, maybe that was total. I had 75 people total. So I got up and did the show at 4 a.m. and I had a bunch of Australians, and then I had women in other countries too, like Europe. So it was actually quite fun. We talked about the differences between our languages, and how they have fun little. I feel like the British and Australians both have some of the best little expressions that they say, and I think we're kind of Americans are a bit weak in that department comparatively. So that's just my opinion. But so we were just comparing that. That was a lot of fun. And yes, I would say that a lot of us are challenged with time zones. So that's why I use the time zone converter on Google. So just real quick, I forgot to mention, I usually tell you right up front where we're located. We are currently in DeSoto, Texas. So now I am, which I believe I was here. Were we here last time we did the Late Night Crafty Club?
No, we were where the train was. Remember
That's right. Okay, so the last time you were watching the show, we were back in Goodlettsville, Tennessee. Now we are in DeSoto, Texas. So we are back in Texas. DeSoto is a community outside of Dallas. We are here on the property that Miss Craig, my beloved friend and mentor, she has... She is so gracious. We stay here on the property. This is the nonprofit that she has. We partner with, and by extension, you guys partner with, because a percentage of our sales go directly to that ministry, and it is specifically it exists to help widows. So, and I've mentioned this before, the widows that Miss Craig helps. A lot of people, when they think of widows, they think of, older women. Like my mom is a widow, and a new one. So she is still adjusting to that new normal. And it's obviously more common when we think about widows. We think of them as being older, because that's just the season of life where, that's what happens. But there is actually a very large amount of women that become widows under 40. And oftentimes have little kids. So they are faced with a huge reset that they did not ask for. And so Miss Craig's organization helps a gamut of different age groups navigate that life. And so we are just very honored to partner with her. The Bible is very clear about remembering widows and how that touches God's heart. So every time you guys shop with us, every time you do anything related, give us your money in any shape or form, a percentage of that goes to her organization. Now, I am bringing all of this up because tomorrow Miss Craig is hosting a Valentine's tea for her widows. And there will be about 80 of them, she thinks, that will be coming to the event. And Mr. Crafty and I are going to go help. We're going to be hands-on and help. with the event, and that might mean I actually have to go around and socialize. So, but I can do that. I can do that. I love older ladies. I really do. I love women my mom's age. I always have. I always just gravitate towards them as friends. So that will be no problem for me. So I am going to be doing that tomorrow. I have really, I should have mentioned this sooner, and I'm sorry that I didn't, because we're missing out on the opportunity of Valentine's Day. But very shortly, you guys are going to be seeing me promote a campaign, if you will, that I would love for you guys, my crafty sisters, to partner with me in creating a storm of, if you will, a craft storm of cards. I'm going to be starting a campaign in our community that will be going all year long, that we will be making cards. I would love for you guys to make cards on your own. I'm willing to have live events like this just to make cards while we're on, you know, doing the show together. I'm probably going to make some printables available in the shop that will have different little designs that you can print and cut out and put on your cards. But I would love, I'm going to be providing all the details. So I'm just giving you a very, just kind of like a sneak peek, if you will, of this request that I'm going to put forth in both of my Facebook communities, to ask people to craft up cards. If you want to go the extra mile and put a little $5 gift card in there, it will go to a widow and be used for birthdays. Miss Craig does it for their birthdays. She does it for their wedding anniversary that they shared with their husband. She does cards for Christmas, and she does cards for Valentine's Day. I think those are her major holidays that she hits. But she does try to provide a $5. I think she just upped it to $7. Yes. Thank you. A $7 gift card and a card to show these women that they are remembered. So that is her mission. And being a partner with her, I just feel compelled. Like, what better to use my influence, or, you know, and come to my community of some of the most, just, not only are you guys so wonderful and very generous and very giving, but you guys, I have watched you guys be such great encouragers to each other. And I just think that this is like the perfect opportunity for us to kind of come together and make these cards for women who are grieving. Whether they are a widow of 10 years or 5 years or recently, some of them are very, very raw, very, very recently widowed. We're talking a matter of weeks or months. But they come to Miss Craig in all different avenues. God just keeps bringing women to her, and they are kind of triaged, if you will, what she tries to do. And so this tea is her way. She does the Valentine's tea, and she does a Christmas event for them to just kind of just demonstrate love, just love on them, and just show them that they're remembered, because that is what we, you know, as believers, that's what we are, what God asks us to do. So I am going to be, Mr. Crafty actually posted the link in the group. And so with all that in mind, I am going to be, Rebecca says my mother was widowed at 28 and I was 3. I am so sorry to hear that, Rebecca. And oh my gosh, 28 years old. So I know that some of you on the feed like have personal experience with being a widow. And it's very tragic. It's not the way your life, you know, your life was intended to go. So I know some of you guys are like, I'm into cards. Look, imagine all of us putting together, you know, cards that are handmade. I mean, that's different. Not everyone can just, you know, make something, right? And we have stamps, we have washi, there's so many things we have. And so I'm going to figure out, so when I, you know, post this officially and give you details, I'm going to try and figure out, like, I would love to involve my creative team, who are amazing. my creative team is so amazing. I just, like, all the time, all the time. I'm just blown away with how the beautiful stuff that they do and how creative. Oh, look, I'm live. Look, I'm on Facebook. I pulled this up because I wanted to show you. I was just scrolling, like I jumped on to post something. Like, this is Patty, who just posted, if you guys saw this, if you've been in the club recently, look at all these adorable journal cards that she just made. They are redonkulous. And I do not know if these are part of the treasured collection, but I do want to mention yesterday a new little mini collection launched, and Christine of the Pink Barlow, she has a collection of journal cards, because she to me makes adorable journal cards. When I've been following her, she's the very talented artist who makes the beautiful little beaded bracelets that I wear. So as I was following her, from time to time, she would put up journal card freebies. And I mentioned it to Kelly the other day, and I said, that's how we should showcase her work, is journal cards, because they're super adorable. So we do have a set of those. I have a weakness for journal cards. I just love them. I just love having them. So I'm trying to find another example. Okay. It is crazy. Like, I turned my back just 1 minute and these girls are just like crafting circles around me. I'm like, dang, on my best day, I could not have churned out some of the stuff that I see. And that's why I was like, you know what? I need to have a creative team again, because I'm in awe. Look at Caroline Martinez and her adorable little Valentine's box. If you have a daughter or even a son, not saying that he'd want a honey on it or anything, but you know, like, you can adjust stuff like that, tweak it. It's just the idea. You could make your own little Valentine box for your little Valentines and not put them full of chocolate and candy, and make them, you know, more healthy. So I'm trying to find this picture that holy smokes. Look at Caroline again. And then she makes a box out of a book. Oh my gosh. This is crazy town. Look at that. So I'm hoping that every single one of my creative team members agrees to do a video for Camp Wannacraft, which will be debuting this summer, because that just blesses me. And I would like to know how to do that. Yes, please. So I would love to put that into the workshop, the camp workshop, so that you guys can get some hands-on learning on how to do some of this stuff, because it's crazy. Maybe I'm in the wrong group. Maybe I should be in the Faithful Life Club. Miss Cammie Higgins made some adorable, I don't even know what they were. It was like a cup with pencils or something, and it was from the treasured collection. Man, isn't it so frustrating sometimes having to like, Facebook hides things from you, doesn't make them easy to find. It's so frustrating. I know many of you guys have noticed I can't find this post or anything else, and I can find some things but not others. See, this is funny. It was in my feed, but it's not actually in the group. So Facebook. Okay, so I am sorry. I've been ignoring the chat room, zoning in. So from what I could tell, there is, oh, hi, Miss Caroline. Caroline's actually in the club. So girl, you are amazing. So what I am thinking I would love to do for Camp Wannacraft, just because I'm talking about it, I would love to do some like basic stuff, like layering 101. Remember when I mentioned that on a late night crafty club before, and I asked you guys, I mentioned it, and a lot of you were like, yes, please. I would just love to do some like 101 things. Like, here's just some of the stuff that I personally do that I know when I started out, I was so fascinated, and I still am. I mean, I am not like this advanced crafter at all. I still am very fascinated with how people put things together. So I like kind of hone in and go, okay, they did this, they assembled that. And for me, I always feel like my eye is trying to tell me something. My eye is telling me, you know, there's something missing. Something wants to be here. Something round. Like that's what I feel, the little voice in my head kind of talks to me. So understanding somebody's process is always so helpful. So I kind of wanted to do some layering 101, something like that. Even perhaps like, you know, maybe I don't consider myself to be good at this particular thing, but like stamping, I'd love somebody to kind of show off their stamping skills, because there's a lot of things that I think stamps are fantastic. They're one of my favorite crafting tools. And I actually, so all this stuff behind me is actually stuff that I purchased recently. Because apparently minimalism is out the window. But I've been gearing up because Camp WannaCraft is going to come, and I want to make sure that I have like experimented and done some fun things so that I can be like, okay, this is what you need to have. Not that you need to go out and buy anything. I always tell you guys to shop your craft stash first. But I wanted to just make sure that I had some fun things, like look at this amazing stamp set I just got from Studio Calico. It is like this giant these giant numbers. I flippin' love numbers. They're like my favorite. And so I was really excited to see this giant set. And then I got a good alpha, which I think everybody should have a couple good alphas in their stamp collection. So they had this one. So they were not cheap. I cannot believe how expensive stamps are. The only thing that consoles me is knowing that they pretty much last forever if you take care of them. So I got a lot of those, and I got, you know, like just the alpha stickers. Speaking of which, we released our very first alpha sticker in the store. So that's what I've been doing. I also got a little, they had a couple roller stamps. They're on sale. They're like $1.50, which is, that's about what they cost, like the wholesale cost of them. So they had two. I neglected to put the second one in my cart. Darn it. But they had quite a few things on sale. So I did grab some things. And then I went shopping on eBay and Etsy, are two of my favorite places to shop. And lucky for me, there's quite a few people who make, you know, they just have a side hustle or make a living putting together ephemera packs. So they will like go, you know, scan the estate sales and flea markets and buy up just boxes of paper crap that most people have been hoarding in their attics. I think a lot of this stuff shows up in estate sales because somebody passes away, and then all of that stuff that they were holding on to, all of their memories, you know, gets sold in lots, and then some lady comes by and goes, I'm going to sell those on eBay, and people like me come by and buy it. So I did get a bunch of different packs. I like to try different sellers out. Of course, my go-to, the girl I shop with the most is Katie of the Paper Basket on Etsy. If you follow her on Instagram, she often will post really fun things like last minute, or she'll say like, oh, this is in the store. It's like pink themed Christmas, you know, which is not very easy to find vintage pink themed Christmas stuff. So that is where she gets me, because I am so impulsive. I'm just like, yes, I must have it. And I noticed the other day, Miss Kristen, if you are on this live, show yourself. She totally won the, there was a, what do you call that, an auction for this freaking adorable typing book, I think. Not that I need another typing book, but just saying. But Kristen won. And I was like, Kristen! So it's so fun to get these packs, and they're just full of like tickets and tags and stamps and just forms. I mean, just like really randomy things. You know, this one has dictionary pages in it. It even has little old comics. I don't even recognize this comic. They're so old. But nothing beats real vintage, right? It's just, so delicious. What is this? St. Cloud Bus Line, St. Cloud, Minnesota. Isn't that so cool? This was like a legit ticket one time. Someone needed this to get on a bus. I just love it. Because I know that this stuff does not exist anymore. We don't use this kind of stuff anymore. It's just, it's kind of sad. And so I personally just love knowing I'm giving it a whole new life. I'm resetting its life. When I was a kid, my mom used to bring home forms exactly like this one. Like I had a whole pad of them. And where is this from? It has a, let's see. I can't see what, is that Oregon? It has a address on it. They used to have weird addresses back in the day, and I have a hard time reading some of them. Anyway, as a little girl, I used to play Office all the time with memos just like this. And my mom brought me home a roller stamp, and I had a Dymo label, and I made a little office for myself, and I would just, like, I was a secretary. Little did I know I'd grow up and actually be one and hate it. And hate it for a very long time. So just like lots of like sheet music and stuff like that. So if y'all are ever looking at stuff that I personally make, this is, I know Patty Radish uses a lot of stuff too in her design she likes vintage herself. She makes a lot of cute junk journals. This stuff is perfect for junk journaling, art journaling. That's what I do. I go shop eBay and Etsy and I just type in vintage ephemera, and then you will see all of the yumminess. Some of the sellers, like this one that I found recently, I think her name is Boston Bag Lady. You guys, isn't this adorable? I just thought that would be so cute to put this in a layout, and you could put like little photo strips in it, you know, like the kind like you get from going into like a photo booth and stick them in there like that, you know. Wouldn't that be so cute?
What shop is that? They want a link to it.
Which one?
I'm not sure.
Well, share the paper basket first.
Okay.
The paper basket is my homegirl, and she is one of the very first stores that I ever started purchasing things from. And I have a relationship with her now that I finally asked her, would you mind putting together some like custom pack, you know, a custom pack for me? Because I know that you can find certain things that I'm looking for personally. And so like this little, ooh, don't fall in the milk. The milk. Like stamps. Isn't that fun? Canceled stamps. Stuff like that. Which just reminded me. Okay, this is going to be awesome. Okay, so another thing you can find on eBay is like letters, vintage letters. So I had Mr. Crafty bid on this for me because apparently some of the biddings are like, there's a lot of bidding on some of them. These are from World War II. And it just is so incredible when it's like holding a little piece of history. And it's so fun to think about the person, like this soldier somewhere, possibly in Europe maybe, you know, writing letters back and forth to his family. And this whole little pack are all these letters that he and his family wrote back and forth to each other. And clearly it was so important to somebody, maybe the mother, maybe him, that the letters were kept. And they just, you know, they were living in somebody's basement or somebody's attic. And I find it interesting that back in the day, they didn't use zip codes. Like, that's it. Rochester, Minnesota. Find them. Like, that's how small the town must have been, that you didn't need zip codes. And look at that postmark. That is 1931. So I have a ton of these letters that I got. I think there's over 50 letters in here. And I wanted this one, bonus treats. This one actually has a newspaper clipping in it. I wanted real letters, like real handwritten letters, so that I could use them in my art journaling. So it is going to feel weird to use like real stuff, but at the same time, isn't it better that I use it and like, you know, love it in a different way than if it just ends up in a landfill? And I just think back then, getting a letter, this was your connection to your family, your connection to your husband. They couldn't call you. They couldn't Skype you. Like, that was it. So this particular one, also from 1931, has a newspaper clipping in it. How fun is that? Studios of Music and Drama and the Dance. That is so cool. So obviously somebody in here was being featured in the newspaper. Look at that. Isn't that fun? This one even came like with an advertising in it. 1931. It's so hard like to even like imagine that, huh? So this is going to be fun. Like, this is just something that I can cut up, you know, and make into a background. And I think that's why I was so interested. So there are all kinds of letters. I think the World War II era letters tend to be more expensive. I'm sure there's all kinds of options on there. I just happened to stumble into that particular era, but I also wanted to find some like Vietnam era letters too. I know my mom and my dad wrote back and forth to each other when my dad served in Vietnam, and she has a whole little box of the letters. I hope that I inherit them one day, because I know I would really treasure them. And it would be hard though, I think, to actually use them. So, but this is so fun. This one opens up and it has all this fun writing in it. And it's like a few lines from Los Angeles, California. And it says, "Dearest sister." So he was even writing to his sister. What a good brother. My mom has letters from all of her brothers when they all served in the military. I think all of them were in the Marines, including my dad was in the Marines. And so that's really cool. I've seen some of them. I don't know, it's so fun to me. It's just like getting a little piece of history. So I just love the fact that I have all these different types of papers. So if that interests you, I know not everybody in the community is into vintage. I get it. I am. I love it. I cherish this stuff. It's so special to me. And so I look forward to finding interesting ways to use it up. And then another fun thing that I bought. So I have the handyman version of this, and I have the home design decorating version of this. So Better Homes and Gardens put out these fun binder books. Obviously they have the cooking one. They have one about gardening. There's this one, the home decorator, the handyman one. I can't think of any other. I think those are all. So I don't care. The gardening one I wasn't really into, or the cookbook one. My mom has a cookbook one, and I'll just wait till she parts with it one day. But this one I wanted. And it's so funny, when I bought this on eBay, when I went to check out, the seller of it is also located in DeSoto, Texas. But this is a really tiny little area, so I was shocked. In all of the years of buying on eBay, I've never once bought anything on there that was located in the same town. Like, I could have just drove over to her house and said, "Hey, can I have my book?" So I have this fun binder book that I'm going to pull the pages out of. I'm kind of still debating on whether I'm just going to use this ring mechanism, whether I'm going to replace it, if I just remove it entirely. I'm still not exactly sure, but I wanted to turn this into like a really fun, kind of like a junk journal album. So that's one of my little projects. And then I bought 2 of the Birds of North America. Somebody I admire who's a paper crafter, and I cannot think of the person's name off the top of my head, but she had some pages pulled, out of this particular book. Actually, this particular book. She had birds in her layouts, and I just thought, oh my gosh, those are fantastic. Where'd they come from? So I did some investigation and discovered it was this book. So I was like, this book is $3. Yes, please. So I bought 2 of them because I thought, I'll hold on to one, the original, and then I'll craft with this one. And that will be my backup just in case, because it is really cool. And the birds are really fun. I know sometimes, like, I don't think necessarily of stuff until I see someone else use it. And then I go, oh, okay. I see why you'd want to use that. Those do look pretty cool. So I decided that I needed to have one. So there you go. And Mr. Crafty's watching this whole thing. He probably had no idea about all this new stuff. So then I have some splaining to do later. And then let's see. I bought more of those little teeny tiny little paper clips. Look at those little guys. They're so little. These are the mini paper clips from Tim Holtz. And then I also got one of his stamp sets, which I am in love with these. They're the rubber foamy ones, but they're cling. So you can still stick them to like the clear acrylic block and stamp with them, but they're like tickets. So I thought that would be fun to have. So I'm getting ready for something. I'm just preparing for the crafty storm that's about to hit. And I've seen these for so long, and I finally pulled the trigger. They're not exactly my style. You guys know I'm a honey girl, but there's something about these little art journaling stickers that I do kind of like. So I decided they were a really good price. So I went ahead and got these, and they're like different girls. So I thought they'd be fun. There's like some really fun, interesting paper sticker products out there that are kind of like very different. I would say they're more like the bullet journaling community. I think because there's so many millennials in the bullet journaling community, I feel like there's sort of an aesthetic that they really like and embrace. And I feel like some of the things that are starting to get a little more mainstream is because there's so many people who have that particular style. So these stickers, which are very interesting, they're all kind of like have a vellum surface. It's sort of like little photos with little sayings and expressions on them, and they look like people's actual photography. It's like two hands. I don't know. I thought they were interesting. These look like things people would do themselves and put in their bullet journal. And this is like a cheater way of getting the same look. So I just thought they were interesting, and I thought I would like to try that, experiment with that. So I got a pack of these, and I got one of these fun little things. So these are an A6. It's like a planner. It's technically a planner cover. So I went ahead and I bought. I wanted to wait for Japan because we are actually going to the Hobonichi store in Japan, but I don't want to wait till April to get it because it is dated. So I went ahead and pulled the trigger and got one of the Hobonichis. I want to start doing small little art journaling pages, like one a day. So I went ahead and got this one, the little 2019, and then I got a matching little, isn't it adorable? So little. They are now making this size, and so you can kind of put your little hobo in there and mark the pages and kind of like have its own little fun little planner. And then you put your pen through the straps together. So there's the little Hobonichi. And I also bought like a little pencil board for it to do, so it has like a flat surface when you decorate inside of it. And then I bought another A6 sized, this is a Stayology notebook, which has, oh, the paper's so dreamy. Very similar to the Hobonichi. It's kind of like, I feel like they're sort of twins, although this is a little bit more minimal inside. So, I'm pretty sure the Hobonichi I'm going to use for the little art journaling. I just want to do really simple little layouts every day, like make myself be creative each day. And then this one I wanted to use for tracking everything I'm eating every day and how much I exercise. I do have a tracker for that on my phone, but I want to like I like writing stuff down, and sometimes when you write it down, it's just easier and faster for me. So I want to write that down and treat it more like a little diary and kind of talk about some of the little issues I'm having as I'm trying to change my my whole life and such when it comes to food and eating. And Barbara, I'm glad that you're here. Even if you were late, you're here. That's wonderful. So Gina says, I have one, but it's still empty. See, I think that's what it is. I think a lot of us are just really good at having good intentions. And then we just don't get there. And I say this about myself. I am putting my hand back in the milk because it's starting to burn really bad again. Rebecca says that the Hobonichi, she has 2 of them, and that those are her main planners now. I think the Hobonichi is really fun. It has its kind of own community. If you follow like on YouTube or on Instagram, people who are into it, every time I see a Hobonichi layout, I'm always like, it always captivates me. Always. So I was like, I'm just going to go ahead and try it again. I tried it a few years ago. I didn't get very far with it. But I feel a lot more crafty nowadays. So I think I'm going to do that. So, let me see. I'm sorry. I'm just catching up, scrolling up on the group things so that. And Melissa, you're so good. She says you can share those on IG. I think that's kind of what it is. I feel like kind of weird. Like I don't know what to share on Instagram anymore. I really don't. I go back and forth in my head. I want to, there's a lot more things I do that I do more than crafting, and like. I want to share pictures of my smoothie that I made. My smoothie or my delicious plant-based dinner I spent, 2 hours making. I'm spending more time on like being healthy and trying to get healthy and do that for myself than anything else I'm doing. So I feel like if I'm going to do anything, I want to share things like that. But is that going to make run off people and they're going to be like, oh, forget it. I don't know. I'm just letting you a little window into my little thought process. It just feels weird to me. A new batch of cold milk? This is actually still cold. Thank you, honey. Okay. It's been like about in the 30s in here in Texas. And the other day, I would say 3 days ago, it was almost 80 degrees. And now it like dropped below freezing. It's crazy. Texas just does not understand weather at all. And we had a really big thunderstorm and like rainstorm the other day. That was so cool. It like woke us up during the night because the RV roof, when it rains, like you just can't sleep through it. It's so loud, but it was so fun. So, but I know a lot of you guys are like living in sub-zero temperatures and are living in the wintry tundras. So we're just getting like this kind of uneven weather, but I would rather it be super cold. It feels weird. Like all my summer clothes are all stored down in our basement. So I didn't have shorts or anything. And I was like, it was so hot. I was just walking around in my chonies and my t-shirt because it was so hot. I had no pants, but don't judge me on that. So, a lot of us are very good at buying things. We just are. So I find a lot of, stuff. This stuff is very inspiring to me. So I'm just thinking it's going to be my catalyst into jumping in. Oh, and then this was actually my Christmas present to myself, but I had to wait till I got here in Texas because this is where it got delivered. So I got the We Are Memory Keepers sewing machine, and I'm so glad that I did. My sewing machine, which I've had since I was 18 years old, my mom got it for me for my 18th birthday. It still works amazing, and it's still a great machine, but it is super heavy. It's like a real sewing machine, and it got left behind in my storage. The We Are Memory Keepers one is super lightweight because it's like plastic. This is plastic, but it is designed to be a crafter's machine. So one of the things it does in excellence is work with paper, which is, I am absolutely in love with stitched paper. I always have been. So I decided to just pull the trigger and get myself one. And I'm very pleased that it's lightweight and it's easy to store. I have not used it yet, but I figure that is something I can do do shortly when I get my act together here, and add those little stitch details to some things I've already made. And I don't know how many of you have ever been interested in having like, you know, the little stitcher for your own projects, but I might do like a video, probably not of the actual sewing because that's just sewing and there's a million videos for sewing. I learned to sew when I was in the 8th grade. I have made clothes for myself. I have made my daughter like pajamas every year of her life when she was a little girl. And when she was like 2, I made her doll that she was getting for Christmas. I made her like 30 little outfits, like little bonnets and little sleepers with zippers even. I impressed myself. So, I've sewn curtains. I've sewn all kinds of decor for the house, pillows. Those are easy. So I am a terrible sewer though. I make a ton of mistakes because I'm lazy. I've made tons of pajamas, little like fleece hats, little pajama pants. I've made lots of those for everybody in my family. I kind of miss sewing. So I thought it'll be fun to do this because then I can just focus on paper, which is something I've always wanted to do. Joanne says, I hope yours works. I was not happy with mine. I can tell you this. I do not have super high expectations because I just figure anything full of plastic and made in China is just, it's never going to be as awesome as what is made like a heavy duty sewing machine. So I totally get that. Like I would never have bought their typewriter. I would just go buy one on Etsy because how could it possibly compete with a real typewriter that was made for heavy duty secretarial typing back in the day? So I totally get what you're saying. I'm trying to keep my expectations very low when it comes to that. But I thought I would try it. I did buy it wholesale, so I didn't buy it retail. I would not have paid as much as for retail for it, because it's more of like a nice to have, not a need to have. So see, and Cindy says the same thing. It doesn't work well. So, so some of you guys are just getting back into sewing. Do you guys remember the little handheld stitcher? That was like, I'm trying to remember the name of it. It had like an infomercial and everything. And I feel like it's like old school. Like I remember that being out in the 80s. It was like that little magic stitcher and it would show like, have you lost a button? Have you lost your hem? And then it would show them like fixing it really fast. So maybe that's what I should just get. Yes, Vanessa says, love stitched paper. It's so delicious. Yes, it is. I totally agree with you. So if you all have sewing machines, Christine says she has a sewing machine from her quilting days. That's the thing about us crafters is sometimes like we go through seasons of different types of crafting. So a lot of us actually own a sewing machine, even though we haven't sewn in years. Like I have not sewn something in several years. I planned on sewing some curtains up for here in the RV, but I knew that the chances of me like actually doing it were pretty slim, so I didn't want to make the commitment to having the sewing machine in the RV because back then I thought like everything is super weight restricted, so I can't have something like that. And I didn't realize that when you have like a diesel RV like we do, the diesel RV can actually hold a lot more weight. So we were way underweight and I would have been fine, but it's fine because Lord knows I probably wouldn't have used it. So that's just wishful thinking, which I think most of us are really good at. And the reason why I'm wearing a t-shirt, I wanted to mention this to you guys. So I got this new t-shirt online. Because I'm such a sucker for pink and orange. But we are in the process of getting, I think, 3 t-shirts, getting them printed and like tested. So I ordered 3 shirts. One of them has the Late Night Crafty Club. One of them says the Reset Girls. So there's a Late Night Crafty Club, the Reset Girls Crafty Club, and then there's, what is the third one?
It's the Reset Girl.
And then just my logo. And then I think we're working on a 4th one, which is a faith-related one. So there might be a total of 4 total. But so we're having some t-shirts test printed and make sure that they're awesome. So you guys will be seeing me wear one of them very soon. So I was kind of using this t-shirt as an example of what I was kind of looking for. So I have my t-shirt on tonight, and I have my little, oops, sorry, wrong way. I have my little wiener dog pants on again. So I just want to show you I'm legit wearing pajamas. It just didn't seem like it. And I kept this on so that I would be reminded to tell you guys that t-shirts are a coming, so we can celebrate our reset community. Melissa says her mom has a collection of sewing machines. Wow, that's a commitment to have a collection of them, because they're not cheap. I also bought a little pack of like vintage material from an Etsy seller. It was just like scraps, because I wanted to make some little fabric like add-ons, like stitch them on there. So I got some of that too. So I'm pretty excited about what I got going here as far as like crafting goes. I feel like I need to keep up my little crafty skills, and because we have Camp Wanna Craft launching on June 1st. And we are going to be the craftiest we've ever been when camp starts. And it's going to be so much fun. It's the ultimate form of self-care, is we're just going to focus entirely on crafting. And each week we're going to focus on a new project or something. Or you don't have to. You can do you. But I am super excited. Carolyn says, yes to pink and orange. It's just the best color combination ever. Every time I see it, my eyes are like, whoop! I've slowly but surely been kind of morphing my logo, and like my branding has slowly been morphing into pink and orange, because I'm just so in love with it. And every time I see it, it's like delicious. So, so yay. Everyone's excited about that. So the thing about the t-shirts, though, I will tell you this, is it is very, very hard to find like a company that does what we're looking for. So are we doing Amazon?
No, Amazon only had like 3 shirts.
So because we can't ship the shirts ourselves, we have to go to companies that will print the shirt on demand and then directly ship it to you, so that we're not like involved with the transaction. So you can, I believe, do they buy it from our store?
Yes, this one will be.
You buy it through our store, but it's fulfilled by an outside company. So when you have to set that kind of thing up, you do not get a lot of options, because it's based on what t-shirts that they want to offer. So that was kind of painful, because I'm very picky about the type of shirts I like. I like a ladies cut, usually like a crew or a V-neck style, and super soft. None of those were an option. So I had to pick a unisex shirt, which is not my favorite, but it is what I have on right now. But I had to go with unisex. I wanted to make sure that there was like the size offerings was like the whole like full range. And then that they also offered a lot of different color options. So there'll be a white shirt and a pink shirt that I'm testing out. So I want to make sure it's soft, and because that's kind of the best I can do. It is a really cute shirt, though, for being more of like a unisex shirt. It's not like a ring tee. It's a little bit more sophisticated, and it was a little bit more flattering. So I'm excited to test it out and see what it's like. And when I put my stamp of approval on it, I will be putting the link up and the shirts up for sale in our shop. And then when you guys come to the Late Night Crafty Club, you'll be coming in your t-shirt.
And they'll go up
if you
3X.
want to. And Mr. Crafty says that they're offered all the way up to 3X. So the good news, though, is that when you do wear that type of shirt, you actually go down in size. Like, so I ordered myself XL, even though in a lady size, I feel like I'm kind of like on the border of still being a bigger size. So Celia is bragging about the 2 wiener dogs that she has, clamoring for her attention right now. I'm so jealous. I would love to have a little doggy. Diana asked about Zazzle. So Zazzle's a different type of store. That's not what we were looking for, and they're very expensive. So we want to have control of like our store. So it's like it integrates with our actual website, whereas Zazzle is its own website, and I just give them a piece of artwork, and then people put stuff on it, and it's like a totally different transaction. We wanted to do it this way so that we're part of the transaction and that I have total control over, like in this case, is like what shirt it can go on. And the price is lower because Zazzle's kind of spendy, I think. I have a hard time pulling the trigger on purchases there because I'm just like, yipes. Melissa says she can't wear t-shirts because it feels like she's choking. I totally get it. But here's some good news. Guess what we're going to have at Camp WannaCraft? Miss Paula of Crafty Destinations does the most amazing things with her t-shirts, with a pair of scissors and a t-shirt. She like cuts the collar. She makes it all super fun. Like some of the shirts kind of look flash dancey, and some of them are like they do fun little things. So they make like snip things in different ways to make the shirt flattering and feminine and kind of like more fun and DIY. So we are going to do a little crafty workshop during Camp WannaCraft, so that whatever t-shirt you have, she's going to show you different ways to cut it up. How fun is that? I personally love it. That's what's going to happen to this shirt. I'm not keeping it like this. I don't like the sleeves. I don't like them when they come all the way down, so I want them shorter, and I want this cut off. And I personally love a shirt that's been DIY'd. I think it is a lot of fun. It looks more casual. So that's what I plan on doing. Yes, sir.
And the shirt that you are looking at that we haven't totally decided on yet goes down to extra small.
And it goes all the way down to extra small, Mr. Crafty said. So the shirt that we settled upon, that we're just going to test the fabric and everything and make sure that it's delicious. Because they do say in the description that it is soft and that it's unique in that it's a little bit more form-fitting or flattering. I forget how they explain it, but they just said it's like their best-selling shirt. So that's what I think we're gonna start off with, and then and I think that would be super fun. I've wanted to do t-shirts for so long, and I think that the way that we did the logos and everything, and they're kind of higher up because, you know, with us girls with our boobs, you want something more up here and not kind of like slipping down your chest. So we'll see. So Beverly asks a very important question. Corey, what do you do while Mr. Crafty is driving from town to town? Mr. Crafty.
Well, she doesn't navigate.
Because you have
That's the only thing that matters to me.
He has two GPS systems navigating him. So I don't know what I would bring to the table.
She
yes.
thinks up all these awesome ideas.
That's right.
That she creates, like the Crafty Girl playbook and whatnot.
Thank you. So ever since I was a little kid, I just loved to daydream, look out that window, and I feel like some of the best epiphanies I've had, like the playbook, that type of project. I just come up with really great ideas. I think they're great ideas while we're driving. I just feel like my mind is like kind of relaxed, and I just let my thoughts wander. And so I take a lot of notes, you know, of things that pop up. I do watch a fair amount of YouTube. We do have a television also in the RV, you know, up on the above the windshield area, so I could watch Project Runway while we're driving down the road. Which, how cool is that? You are driving down a highway and you can watch television like that.
Because of cellular data.
Because of data. It's just such a great time that we live in. So I love watching Project Runway. It's probably I put that one of my top 3 favorite shows. It just gets my little creativity going. It's so fun to watch. I don't know how many Project Runway watchers we have in the group, but I just love it because it's so super, it showcases creativity under pressure, no less, which is what I think is what's so special about it. Those artists do things that they probably never imagined that they could do. Like, they're probably impressed with themselves. They're like, dang, I didn't know I could do that in like 8 hours. So that's why I love it.
So it's been over an hour. Are you going to craft it?
So Mr. Crafty just reminded me that it's been over an hour.
It's been an hour.
I don't know why I'm repeating everything he says, because you can hear him. You can hear him just fine. He's right behind me. Hi, Bessie. Christine's saying that she would love a Reset Girl apron. Mr. Crafty, note to self.
Oh, we look at a lot of stuff.
Make a note of that, sir.
I'll look at Zazzle again, and we try to keep an open mind about things, and then try to decide what works best for all of the different situations. So, yeah.
Melissa says that she's glad to hear I'm not a backseat driver.
No, you're not.
I'm not. But
or a side seat driver, or a front seat driver,
one thing
or
I
a
will say,
driver.
One thing I will say, though, when Mr. Crafty takes a turn in the RV, so those of you who have been in a vehicle of that size, you know that you have to pull out really wide before you can turn in. And there are times where I'm like gripping the handle, clenching my teeth, and praying that we are not about to hit something or someone, because it looks like we are. There are times where that happens a lot, and I have to just be still, say nothing. But it's hard. But yes, he's a very, very good driver. When
you're too kind.
Exactly 2 years ago today, this time frame, me and Mr. Crafty and my dad were driving the RV back across the country. Mr. Crafty and my dad, we all flew to Florida to get that RV, and then we all drove together back. So this time 2 years ago, we were with my dad on that journey, and it was a lot of fun. I am so grateful that my dad offered to come with us, I'll help drive. And at first Mark's like, oh, I got it. I can do it. And then my dad, he made a phone call and he said, Corey, he goes, driving like that for that many hours is very hard to do. He goes, I really want to come. And I am so glad that I said yes, because I had no idea that the next month he would tell us that he had a tumor, and then 2 months later he'd be gone. So that was probably the best decision I ever made when it comes to my dad, because I got fun memories. The only fun RV trip that we were going to get with him, because we said, yeah, let's do it. You know how you get oh, we can take care of it. I got it. Mark was very much oh, I don't want to trouble him, but he wanted to. So I'm really glad that he did. And at this time, that period, we went to New Orleans. We stopped along the way. We went to the Riverwalk in San Antonio. So we made little stops along the way and tried to do a few little fun things here and there. And I remember one thing about that trip was my dad was so funny. He was totally helping me take pictures of, remember when I went through I still do, so it wasn't a phase. I love taking pictures of my Kate bag, my Kate Spade bag. I just do. I don't care what people say or think when they're watching me style my bag up in a tree or whatever. I don't care. But all around New Orleans, I was putting the bag on a fire engine that was parked in the driveway. I was hanging it on a door handle, up on a gate. I was putting it everywhere and taking a picture. And he started helping me. He was like being my little scout, ooh, here's a good photo opportunity. So that's one of the things I remember about that trip was he started getting into that.
Putting it up high places you
putting it up high for me. So there's this one sign in Texas. It's on this very long, boring stretch of 10, which is the one highway that goes all the way from Florida all the way to California. It's just one long, do you call that an interstate? Like an interstate or highway?
Yeah.
There's this one sign, and now every time we pass it, I always think of it. My dad wedged my Kate up there on this sign that said East and West. And he wedged it in between, and it's a picture that I really love. And so every time I see it, I always think of him and how he took his time to get up there and get it into the in the sign. Okay. Patty says, I do my best anything when I have a deadline. I agree. All the procrastinators in the group, raise your hands. Show yourselves. I need to ask you guys something. Sound off. I'm taking a poll right now, impromptu poll. All my procrastinators, show yourselves. I need to know, I need to have some validation here. Do we or do we not agree that what Patty just said is that one of the things when we are up against it is when we do our best work? And somehow, subconsciously, maybe you know that. And I think maybe that's why you, start playing, you're kind of willing to risk being in that position. Maybe you kind of put yourself in that position unknowingly, or even though you know it's painful to be in it, you know that you've succeeded so many times that it's kind of like you get rewarded for doing it. That's Mr. Crafty's theory on why I procrastinate, is because you're always rewarded, because you always succeed in the end. So it never bites you for doing it. It bites everybody else too. I'm not the only one. So there we go. There's all my procrastinators. Yay. I do not know. This is kind of fun. So like, I'm excited to do Camp Wannacraft. I will not be procrastinating on that, as God is my witness. I'm going to enjoy that because I'm really excited to do this camp, like more so than I think any project I've done. What a like super fun concept. So I do not think that I will be procrastinating on that. I really feel like I'm going to bust this one out, and I'm excited to have all the time. So this is kind of one of those situations that I've never really been in before, where I'm like, I'm looking forward to it. So we'll see. I will use this as my baseline, because a lot of times I have to do things. I can't say that they're like the most exciting or fun, or even if it's fun and exciting, I'm so worried and scared and dealing with perfectionism in my head that I think that's my biggest challenge. And I think that's probably a challenge for most of us, because I would guess that most procrastinators are also perfectionists, that we deal with perfection issues. And that's what keeps us from jumping in and doing it. So, and it's terrible. Oh my gosh, it's awful what you do to yourself. Because sometimes you do it to yourself. Sometimes, it's not entirely your fault. I mean, sometimes it just isn't. So, Linda says, I am not a procrastinator. I am a girl with too many ideas I want to do first, and then I need to focus in a short amount of time. Linda, we need to sit and talk, girl. Because I honestly do not know what it would feel like to just be a jumper inner. And like, I just can't wait to get going and let's do it. Because I'm like, no, wait. I gotta sit and plan. I gotta plan this out. I need to think through. I want to like research my options. I need to watch a YouTube video about it. I need to Google it. Like, I will find all the reasons to elongate that whole planning stage. And so my execution time starts getting shorter and shorter and shorter. But boy, does it feel good when I'm doing it. Gail says that I feel like I have ideas percolating in my mind, and the last minute pressure brings them out. That's probably very true. And I think that there is some truth in it, that when you have just always been successful as a procrastinator, that it kind of makes you a little overconfident. I feel pretty confident in myself that I could procrastinate. I'll be okay. Now, I will say there's probably a difference. Maybe if you gave it some more time, you'd come up with an even more stellar presentation or a project. And so when you shorten that window, maybe it's not your best work, but it's great work. Everybody's happy with it. So I think that's kind of that's probably part of the issue, is that you start deciding, like I do. I will go, well, maybe I can just kind of like, I start trying to figure in my head, how do I cut corners and try and just like make this easier instead of so hard and detailed and elaborate like I like to do. Keep my standards so high that they're impossibly high, and then that stresses you out. So I just feel like I'm preaching to the choir right now. I feel like a lot of us are like that. We just have very high standards, and I also definitely have an analysis paralysis issue where I'll overthink something to death. Probably something that a lot of my INFP sisters out there can relate to, is just, we're little idealists. We just want the best scenario possible, and we just need to consider all the options. Sorry, I'm soaking my hand in the milk again. It's burning. It's burning. So I made this little list of stuff I was going to talk about with you guys so I would stay on task. So I mentioned to you guys about how we're going to start doing card making as a community, which I think is going to be fun. It's going to be like, what do you call that? It's a community. It's a craft service project. It's a community service project. A crafty community service project. That's what it is. Another thing that I have coming up that I wanted to just mention to you guys is I'm going to have 4 live shows. So this will be Late Night Crafty Club, which we are doing right now. There will be Chapel Day, which I have been doing ever since Camp Reset, which is where it got its name. That's kind of like the little live show I did that's more on faith-based topics. So something we'll talk about or we'll craft. So we can talk about scripture or prayer. We'll do, Bible journaling or faith journaling, that kind of thing. So I will be doing the chapel events. And then there's 2 new live shows I would like to start doing. One of them I have decided to call Crafternoon with Corey. So Crafternoon with Corey is like the Late Night Crafty Club, but it is going to be done probably during the week at an earlier time, like an afternoon time. The reason why is that some of you would actually be able to come live. Everything will always be available as a replay. So if you miss it, that's fine. You can always catch the replay. But I really want to have a little bit of variety in the time frames that I offer things, so that people who are in, perhaps me doing it earlier in the day makes people internationally more able to watch it in the evening where they are. But it just kind of mixes things up and gives another opportunity for others to see it live. So that was my thinking. Plus, sometimes like during the week, I just get like in a crafty mood, and there's so many times I'm like, I just wish I could turn the camera on right now and just go live. So I kind of wanted to have a Crafternoon be more of not completely spontaneous, maybe giving like a day notice, like, hey guys, tomorrow I'm going to do a Crafternoon with Corey at, I don't know, 11 a.m., noon, whatever. Just because I know, like, I'm in the mood, like I just want to have that option of having that kind of format. And then today I had the idea that I would love to have a little time with you guys, if you're interested, doing a show that doesn't necessarily have to do with crafting. So for instance, one thing I am, like, my number one goal this year is I'm going to lose 75 pounds. That's going to happen. So becoming a healthy person, changing my whole lifestyle, so that becomes a natural result of my healthy choices as I shed the weight. That's a very difficult process. And all of us who've lost weight in the past knows that you just make a lot of changes. You try a lot of things. But because I know that these need to be permanent changes, that has made, that just makes things... That still makes things hard. It's hard. And the older we get, I think that I just want to set myself up for as long a life as possible being healthy. I don't want to be on drugs. I don't want to feel that way. I hate taking drugs. I hate taking cold medicine. Just even the simplest little things I don't like taking. So I can't imagine what happens. My mom takes blood thinners because a few years ago she had a heart attack. So now, with blood thinners, people who take that, they get these terrible, awful, bruises all over their arms. Anywhere you touch them, they could like just bump their elbow on the refrigerator, and then she has this big black mark on her arm. Like, it looks terrible. It looks like she got beat up. When her dog like scratches her, it just boom. I don't want that to happen to me. And I think about my little heart and how I've not taken care of myself, and I have just been really sedentary. I've eaten badly. I've been really thinking about that, and I want to make these really good changes and just kind of be it's not about being on a diet. It's just about like just changing my life. And I really want to be able to talk about that and be like, hey guys, like, let's talk in a live session so that we can chat back and forth, and we can go, wow, yeah, this is really hard. And perhaps encourage each other, and, and who else is, struggling with certain things and that. So, or maybe I want to talk about, I don't know, a movie I watched, or like, what are we binge watching these days? Or, stuff that's just more life stuff, like, I don't know if you guys would be interested in that. we do talk about crafting a lot here in this particular show, and then the other areas. So I just wanted one place where it could be more open to discuss health and wellness, talk about, you know, what are we doing? What are we up to these days? Perhaps doing, one thing I mentioned is I wanted to do a book club. I wanted to talk about the Atomic Habits book by James Clear. So that was something that might fit into that format. I haven't decided yet. So sometimes we just need to, like, this part of like being in the chat room and just connecting as women, as just like, hey, we're all in this community. All of us have lives outside of, you know, being creative. And for some of us who are kind of like going through something too, you know, you might not feel very crafty. So I just kind of wanted to talk about that. Like, I personally have been having a lot of epiphanies lately, about how I handle things and how I look at things and how I am struggling. Like right now I'm kind of in a struggle. And I might look all happy and chipper because we're doing the Late Night Crafty Club and that's what, you know, I got to bring it. But I feel like I've just been kind of going through something, this weird kind of like a funk almost. So even just discussing stuff like that, you know, what about you guys? I mean, I often feel kind of a little bit like, what's the word when you are kind of like isolated? And I feel like people who go through depression, like I feel like what's happening is kind of like a low level depression. I feel like a lot of us feel a little isolated. You know, that's one of the things we do when you're depressed is you isolate yourself. So I just wanted to be able to just kind of go, maybe if I like talk about it with my friends or just, you know, chat about things like that. Just, I'm trying to formulate my thoughts and I'm just not getting there. My hand is burning. It's not burning as badly though. That's a good sign. The milk is working. So I tried many different ways to get this jalapeno oil off my hand. And apparently this is the only way that works. So in the future, should you get jalapenos on your hand because you neglect to put on plastic gloves, milk is the answer. Because everything else I did not work. Tried vinegar, dish soap, alcohol and dish soap, and nothing worked but the milk. So, but I do know that over the course of time and different times that I have mentioned this topic or talked about it, I know that when I've mentioned depression on my Instagram or anytime I've ever mentioned it, I know there's a lot of you who deal with it. I know there's a lot of people who have depression and anxiety. I know there's a lot of people that have different things going on in your life that's putting you in a place where you just, you know, you can't really, you isolate yourself because you're going through something. I know when I go through things, I don't want to talk to anybody. I like withdraw from everyone. And it's been a lifelong pattern and it's not personal. It's simply my wiring, I guess, especially as an introvert. And I think that's kind of why I feel like, not that I want it to turn into this big discussion on like, I'm trying to help you and heal you, because that's certainly not anything I can personally do, but merely just having an outlet to just kind of like chit chat and get, you know, kind of be like, just being able to be in the comment, you know, in the chat room and just be able to say, yeah, I totally agree. I feel the same, you know, just being able to validate each other and just be like, yeah, me too. Cause you know, me too is such a powerful, comforting thing, you know, what the hell they say, misery loves company. As terrible as that sounds, there's truth to it. When you're struggling and someone else says, I'm struggling too, don't you feel a little bit better that you're struggling too? And I'm okay with admitting that. I'm okay. I'm not hiding anything. I have learned that transparency is the best policy, because the more real you are, you know, the more real I am, the more you guys can relate. And I'm not trying to put on this big act that everything is polished and pretty at the Reset Girl and I'm living the girl boss life, and because that has not been the case for the majority of the time that I've been doing this. And again, I have not ever been a person who has aspired to be an entrepreneur and like I'm so confident I could totally kick butt. Like that's just not me. And so I feel like over time I've just like I feel a little bit like this has been a topic lately I've seen on social media a lot is the imposter syndrome where you feel like you're kind of faking it to people and I think social media has sort of made us even feel more strongly about that we have to like show our best pictures and like here's the best moment of my life and so without realizing that sometimes you forget you're only seeing the best moments of people's lives and then you compare it to your own crappy life at the moment. And so sometimes you can lose a bit of perspective and you can become jealous or envious and feel down about yourself. And, you know, if we had social media when I was in my 20s, oh, I can't even imagine. That would have had me, I don't know. I mean, I was already, I had already been someone who'd been on medication and I'd already been in like tons of therapy by that time. So I just think that we don't always, social media can be such a blessing and it can also be its own curse. And I would just love the opportunity to just kind of have those little, you know, casual conversations to sort of help all of us feel, you know, okay, yeah, let's remind ourselves we're all okay. We're all doing okay. Maybe we can focus on things, you know, about gratitude and, you know, why it's so important. And I love looking up stuff. I spend time watching lots of YouTube videos. So I would love to be able to recommend things that I'm finding like, hey, maybe this would help you guys too. So that kind of thing, just a very casual chit chat situation. So that's the kind of live show I wanted to roll out just because I don't know, I'm feeling it like on my heart to kind of do that more and not just be so like crafty because that doesn't, I often don't feel like you guys are getting the whole picture and maybe you're only seeing this side of it and I'm just not a super crafty person. I'm not crafting every day. And so that's never been that was never my goal is like the reset girl is going to be a craft girl. The reset girl is just like the whole thing of, I just want to encourage you. I want to encourage you to be living your best life. And so if you guys have like a question for the group, you know, like, hey, here's a situation I'm in. Here's some, you know, what are your thoughts? There's a lot of very wise women in this community. And I think getting some advice, some input, whether that is like, hey, I'm going to post this in the group and you guys can just, you know, like ahead of time, let you know I'm going to be doing it. And then just put your questions in there. Like, hey, this is a question that I'm going to have. Maybe I'll call out a couple people and say, here's a question in the group. What do you guys think? So you guys get a chance to share your input too. Because, you know, I certainly am not the wisest person I know. I have to, I think that's why I spend so much time thinking things through because I don't think I always think the best way the first time. I think from a very, very emotional place where my feelings are hurt. I feel something and I have to sort through that before I can come to a place of wisdom. A lot of you guys, especially the INFJ crew in the group, which I know there's a lot of you, you guys are that J gives you a lot more perspective and a lot more like think it through and not be so like, you tend to be a little bit more balanced with how you approach something, even though we're both little feelers. And if you do not know what I mean by INFJ and INFP, please take a moment to take the Myers-Briggs personality assessment. You can do that free online. There are free tests that you can take. I used to promote 16 personalities a lot. I've kind of like pulled back from that because I think they put their own spin on it and I don't necessarily agree with it. Also, the last time I took this one test, it provided a whole report and it was like you could print it and everything and it was awesome and it was free. Which of course I'm drawing a blank on what that website was, but I found it by Googling it. But it's a very good way of just getting some clarity about yourself if you've never taken it. It can be very eye-opening and helpful. So if any of that sounds fantastic And I see somebody addressing Franklin, so that must mean that our friend Franklin's in the group. I'm an INF. Karen, are you an INFP? And then INF and INTJ is Miss Mallory. So anyway, that's my plan, is we're going to have 4 live shows. Chit Chat with Corey, which is the one I was just taking my time explaining to you. Just kind of things outside of the crafty talk and more like just all the other stuff talk. Crafternoon with Corey, which will be like an earlier in the day kind of show for people who just might hit a different kind of, do I want to say demographic? Yeah, a different demographic that may not get a chance to see the Late Night Crafty Club. And then we will continue having this show. And then the chapel day. So those are the 4 things that I'm going to do. And with all of that said, I'm also working on new books. So I have several different books that I'm going to be knocking out this year that I'm super stoked to bring to the community, because these are like things I've been wishing and planning for and just wanted to make for so long. And I always had like stickers to make. So now that I do not do the stickers, I'm not involved in the sticker stuff myself, that has freed me up to work on the projects that I really want to work on, which are more about helping you guys kind of inspire you and change your life and give you some like fun stuff to do that's just kind of outside the, outside of the box. And then let's see what else. So I mentioned that I'm working on my fitness right now, and basically I'm looking for people to commiserate with. I know a lot of us get very excited about, health goals in January, but I'm telling you, I have the eye of the tiger this time, and I can feel it. Like, I am not going to fail. I have some success under my belt so far, in that I know for like the last almost 2 years, I've stuck to my guns on certain things that I've cut out of my life. So I know that those are still like, I'm still solid on those. And I've just been, I'm just very determined. I just want this to be the last year that I'm really unhealthily overweight. So I'm excited, but it's hard. And so I would just love to, complain about it with others. So that will be the Chit Chat with Corey opportunity. So, and that way you guys will all get kind of like help, and I could be doing this, and you guys can be over here in the chat room talking to each other. Like, hey, who's doing this? It's kind of like what I'd hope to kind of focus a lot on in the Dating Your Goals Summit, which I'm just gonna like, by doing the book club on the book, I'm still giving you pieces of an inspiration from that Dating Your Goals plan. You're just getting little pieces that you can kind of like think about and incorporate, and we can still talk about goals in Chit Chat with Corey. We can just talk about, what are we working on? Let's be accountable. And I've been using some great stuff, like really good apps and stuff like that. So, and personally, I love like, what are you guys using? What are you guys doing? Like, it'll be a good time to kind of trade, tips. So I talked all about my planner, the new vault collection, and I've completed my list. So this is the moment of truth. Am I going to be crafting? Okay, first thing I need to do is go wash my hands, because my hands this hand feels very milky. So I'll be right back. It feels weird.
Putting your hand in milk?
Yeah.
For 2 hours?
Yeah,
I would think that would feel weird.
Like it has powder all over.
I doubt very many people have tried that.
Well, it's definitely much more successful than anything else I did. That's for sure. Are you done
with this then, baby?
Yeah, we can.
So I can go put this in my cereal?
Thank you very much. Not in your cereal. No. You know what? You'd probably get sick if you drank that milk.
It'd be spicy.
Well, other than the fact my girl cooties were in it,
well, that's for sure.
The chances are that it would probably make you sick from the lactose. I don't know if you guys, for those of you who have ever changed your diet, but so I stopped eating dairy, like animal producty stuff. And if you do that, if you cut out that stuff and then you go back and have it later, like let's say months later, you can make yourself lactose intolerant, which now I am. So I can't have dairy even if I wanted to, because it makes me super sick. And so I was warning him, don't use that milk because you might pay for it in ways that you would not wish on your own enemy. So one of the apps that I am loving right now, it's so adorable. Let me see if I can. Okay, it's called Calorie Mama. It's so cute. It has this cute little, wait, where is it? Right here. This one right here. Can you guys see that? I don't know if you can see that. It's not focusing very well, so like it's blurry. It's like one phone is not good at looking at the other phone. Anyway,
put it over your face, because
okay.
It wants to focus on your face.
It wants to focus on my face. Okay, hang on. Let me see if you can see it now. If it tries to. All right, there it is, Calorie Mama. This app and Runkeeper are the two I've been using. The Runkeeper is really cool because it tracks your distance, like you're walking and stuff like that, but it gives you updates like you've walked, half a mile, and you can play your playlist through it and everything. So between the two of them, I've been doing much better. So little bit NJ78 says, this is your channel and you should do whatever is speaking to you at the moment. I like the way you think. I think it's kind of weird. I don't know why I'm like hung up on this, but I kind of am. It's just like, I feel like I've led you to believe or led you into this relationship with me based on this content. And now I want to pivot and kind of like, expand it and change it. And somehow that will make you want to break up with me. I don't know. That's what I'm just saying. I don't pretend that this makes a whole lot of sense or sounds healthy in any way. I feel like I've said too much. Okay. So this is what I'm saying. You guys, this is not craft talk. I feel like I'm, we're having a very intimate girl discussion right now. So, yes, I heard that they were mentioning about the sound of it. It does sound like an old school video game. Mr. Crafty has his phone is what's filming me right now. So when he gets a text message or a message, apparently he either didn't turn it off.
I didn't. I failed to turn off my notification.
So now you guys all get to hear when he gets notified.
Quick, Kelly, text me.
Speaking of video games, that's one thing Mr. Crafty and I have been doing together. We have been playing some video games. We have the Xbox One, and we each have our own controller. And we were kind of like looking at different games, trying to find games that we can play together, because there's just certain things I'm not good at doing. And so that's been kind of like fun and team building. And it has been a lot of fun doing that. We were playing a game called Hitman. So we're like an international assassin. I'm super impressed with the graphics and how like fancy. It looks like you're watching a movie almost. It's so impressive, the amount of design that goes into these games. But it's been fun doing that. I look forward to it in the evening, is sitting down and playing our little game together. So Christine says, businesses and personal goals evolve. So that is very true. But just let's not break up over that. Okay. What I'm planning to do with like my Reset Girl channel is I'm going to label every video that I do. Like I was thinking of like, here's like a crafty girl video. Here's a faithful girl video. Here's a healthy girl video. So like you could identify it as soon as you see it in your feed if you want to watch it. Like if you're not into the healthy stuff, like I got my own thing going, I don't need to hear about that. You know that that's not a video for you. If you are of a different faith, you're not interested in the faith thing, you could skip that one too. So I'm gonna like label my videos so that they kind of fit in the little categories of things I'm interested in, and that way you can decide, oh yes, I want to be part of that. So I figured that would be helpful, that you could just identify which things interested you, because not everything interests everybody. I've been following a lot of people who are into health right now, into the like losing weight. I follow a lot of people do that at the beginning of the year. They create a lot of like YouTube channels and stuff just to document their fitness. And I am on the fence about creating a brand new channel for that, or if I should just use my current one and do what I'm saying is just label them, label each video that has to do with that topic. So, and then I think about it so much that I don't actually do anything. So, Noelle says, I love Runkeeper. And if you want a buddy to connect with on it. Oh, they let you do buddies? I did not notice that feature of it. Or maybe I did. I'm not remembering it very well. Maybe I have seen that. Yes. So crafty, healthy, spiritual, there are 4 categories that kind of make up our lives, I forget what they call it. It's called the universal law of, life. So it's physical, spiritual, mental, and emotional. Those are the 4 categories we as human beings kind of what makes up our life. Okay, those are the 4 areas. So I was thinking about it, and I realized that I have touched on those, because the healthy part is, the physical. The spiritual is my faith. The emotional is the journaling that I love to do. And the mental is like it's like the planning stuff. So self-care and journaling is the emotional, and the planning is the mental. So I was like, wow, the things I like and I'm interested in, those fit in the 4 categories. Those are 4 things that, make up our life experience and how we handle things and everything. So that's what I was thinking I'm going to do. So we shall see. Like I said, I'm in that just kind of like thinking about it mode right now. And but I appreciate the feedback. I appreciate you guys sharing with me, because I'm not doing it just for myself, because I don't need to have a camera on to talk to myself. I could just do that all day long. But I want to make content, that is legit and is helpful, and that, because I get inspired by people when I watch their videos, and even if they just say one sentence in the whole 15-20 minute video, I would be like, yes, time well spent. Of course, my videos are always tend to be longer, so maybe it'll give me an opportunity to do like shorter videos. We can dream. Maybe that will happen. Yes, Melissa mentions that there have not been any fires or alarms or spillage. And I even have candles here, and I had a big tub of milk. So that was like 2 potential hazards that we avoided tonight. And Melissa says, when I have videos, when I play video games, I have crazy dreams. Me too. Oh my gosh. I had 2 of the craziest dreams of my life after some of those video games. I wonder why that is. See, that would be a great topic for Chit Chat with Corey.
So looking at Zazzle, if they were to do an apron, it's like $20 before we make anything and before shipping. So isn't that kind of expensive?
For a t-shirt?
No, for an apron.
For an apron. See, I kind of feel, I do feel that it's kind of, for an apron, it feels a little expensive. So Mr. Crafty was saying $20. Okay, so right off the top, that's not us getting anything. That's just them getting $20 for the apron, plus the shipping, and then something we would have to tack on for our design. So that's kind of an expensive apron, unless it was like a really good apron, like a really good canvas, and it was like had lots of pockets. I mean, I guess it just depends, but if it was like a really simple one, I don't know. I'd feel a little weird putting a product out there that costs that much. I'd feel like I was, I don't know, But it is a lovely idea, and I definitely will we'll keep our eyes peeled, because I agree with you. I think
they
having
have a lot of products to choose from though to put stuff on.
they do. That is one thing I do am impressed by Zazzle. There's another company too. I can't remember their name off the top of my head. There's two of them that are fairly large, and they both have a gamut of products, like all the products, notebooks, mugs, ball caps, onesies for babies. They have like oven mitts. I mean, it's just like really funny, all the different stuff you can. I feel like I'm seeing things outside the glass right now, which would be really creepy because it's maybe it's just a reflection of myself. Hi, Christina Myers, joining us today. Mallory, I didn't see what you said about the Louise Parker method, although that name does sound familiar. Beverly's right. It's time to drink. Everybody drink up. She just reminded me I'm not drinking much. I have been really super bad on my drinking lately. Well, thank you, Christine. She's like, it's not just any apron, it's a Reset Girl apron. I hope you guys love the t-shirts. I think they're super cute. I'm going to wear them on the show so you guys can actually see them in action. And I will give you like a full on like review of what I think. But we will not make them for sale until I have personally put it on and the whole 9 yards, and I'll show them in the video so you guys can see. But I think they're super cute. They have the delicious Reset Girls colors that I love, obviously love so much.
T-shirts are $17 to $35.
Almost got brain freeze. What? They're what? I'm sorry.
T-shirts are $17 to $35.
So t-shirts through them are $17 to $35 to start.
Yeah, before shipping.
Before shipping and before the little upcharge of the designer. So the company we went with was under that. So it's just very interesting. But everyone has to make money in the transaction.
And they offer a lot of stuff.
But the thing I will say about Zazzle that I think is pretty awesome is the gamut of stuff they offer. It's just like things and as the designer, I can go, hey, I'll let people put this logo or this design on all of these different things. Like I think that you have the right to pick the products that people can put this stuff on. I think that's what they let you do. Either that or you can put it on anything they have. I'm not sure how that part works. So Tammy says that I'm her crafting buddy. Thank you. So yes, I like being your guys' crafting buddy, which is why I'm kind of trying to get a little bit more live stuff, because we've been doing more live. I know you guys who follow me on YouTube notice that that's another area you are not seeing a lot of videos go up on right now. So between doing a live and doing a regular video that's edited, this live format is working better for Mr. Crafty right now because he's my video editor and he's been doing a lot more hands-on stuff in the store. So he's been working on the cut files that now we're making available, and he's just been very focused because now we have 3 launch dates every month, not just the one. And so that has been occupying him more. So the live format is very convenient because it's one and done. Like I just do it and then it goes up immediately on YouTube. So like whatever mistakes happen, there they are for all the world to see. So to me, it makes sense if I do more live videos and there's at least more content going out there, and there's, more chances for you guys to be able to jump into a live every now and then. And, so I just feel like I thought that would be like more fun to do a little bit more variety to doing things. And I think I've been thinking about this a lot more because I have been watching other types of YouTube channels. I've been watching different things, trying to get like a feel for like things I like and things I don't like, and ways I want to evolve and and what's interesting to people. It's really cool to see how many different kind of like niches there are. Did you guys know that there are YouTube channels, they're called reaction channels, and sometimes they'll react to like to watching like certain TV shows. So some channels will like specialize in like I'll watch okay, so one of my guilty pleasure shows, they'll watch like the 90 Day Fiance, and then every time a new episode goes up, they'll make a video and they'll kind of do a recap of what happened in their own style, and then they'll react to watching it and like how they thought it, you know, this is and that situation was, and it's very entertaining. Some people are like super gifted at it. But I did not know that this kind of niche existed, and that there are channels that exist because they just watch somebody else. They watch a TV show, or they'll react to other YouTubers who make content, and then they'll react. And so I find that very interesting, how I just didn't know any of this existed until I spent some more time looking around, and it's just really, it's very outside of the norm of the craft channels, you know, where all you usually see are people's hands. And that's all I used to do, is just do videos with my hands. But now I feel much more comfortable being on like face on camera and doing live. Like I remember the Late Night Crafty Club did not come out live like this. In the beginning, I was terrified of doing it live. So I would just record myself, and then we would air that recording, and I would just be in the chat room with you talking to you guys. How many of you guys remember those days? The early days when I was afraid to be in front of the camera. But you guys are just so fantastic and loving and sweet and supportive that it made me feel braver. Quite honestly, it made me feel braver about being out front and getting to do like workshops and teach and go to some events. That made me feel so loved, and just very how sweet everyone was to me. That made me feel a little bit more confident about like, okay, I'll just flip the camera on. And I have to be honest with you, and this is something that I would talk about in a chit chat with Corey, is my weight is definitely played a factor in that comfort level. Like I was very self-conscious about that, and I did not want to feel like I was disappointing anybody. And so that's not right for me to think that way. And I realize that now, but it took a while for me to get that, you know, that's silly. That's, you know, so that's the stuff I want to evolve from. I want to like just be my very best self. And this is one last little area that I have not conquered. Although I've tried many different times, they just never sticks. So this is the year it will. So that's what I thought. Good night, Christine. Good night. Good night. So, yes, Kelly Johnston says the TRG water bottle. I totally agree. That one is going to be, that's definitely going to be on my list. I want to do a coffee mug and a water bottle for sure, because hello, and it would be fun to even make decals, so that for those of you who own this particular one, that you could put a decal on it. That's another plan of mine. Okay, so let me catch up with the chat room over here, because I keep getting left behind. Everyone's leaving without me. Yes, thank you, Melissa. I am glad I got over that fear too, because it is a lot more fun to be live than it is to be pre-recorded and just be typing in the group. So, but that took a while, I'm not going to lie. It is a little harder to do things live. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm reading Mallory's question, and I guess I don't know what goggle box is. What is goggle box? That's an interesting word. Yep, Michelle Spencer says the OG LNCC crew. Mallory says I remember too. Noelle says I remember your wavy hands when you'd say hi. Hi, everybody. I miss that. I miss making a video. Like I can't even remember the last video I made. But that is my little signature greeting when I make a regular video, is hi everybody, with my little hands, my little happy hands. So another thing about gathering all these supplies is I've been kind of like planning out the videos that I have to make, because I do want to show like a more in-depth on my planner team and my setup for this year. So I was just kind of like making sure I had a good setup before I just jumped in and said, this is what I'm doing. Because I actually like showing you and like, here's my thought process. So I just need to have one. Plus another video that needs to be made is a video about this little gem here. I have not made this one yet. So that's going to happen this month. Getting it up. So I feel like, let's see, it's already 10 o'clock. So I've officially been on here for 2 hours with no crafting at all. And I apologize for that, guys. My Bernie hand was just being a little pill. And please don't do as I did. Please wear plastic gloves should you be chopping up jalapenos. Raw jalapenos are so yummy when you add them to like a stir fry. Like, I just love heat, but they are something you definitely need to be wearing plastic gloves. Usually like in the past when I've cut them, the oil has gotten up underneath my fingernails and it is burned like, it's like a horrible pain because that skin under there is so sensitive. So this could have been worse. It's just the palm of my hand that's super burny. Like, I hope I can fall asleep tonight. It still burns so much. So I'm sorry that I wasn't crafty, but I certainly hope you guys have been crafty and I've just been talking your ears off tonight. Good night, Judy. Thank you for hanging out with me so long. Googlebox is a TV show that shows people watching TV. That's funny. I'm not sure. That'd be weird, huh? Watching somebody watching TV. They also have videos. They're called mukbangs, which is it comes from Korea of watching people eat. You watch them eat. I don't know that I'm one of those people that I don't like the chewing sound, so I feel like that isn't for me. But they're super, super, super popular. It's just so weird. What I think we're very nosy in general, like just maybe it's an American thing. Or I don't know if it's American or just humans, that we're nosy about each other's lives. I tend to think it's more of an American thing. That's just my theory. But we are very nosy. We are interested to see like what other people do, like how they put their house, how they dress. Because some YouTubers have like millions of people watch them and they just do the most ordinary things. They just really do. They're just like, this is what I did today. This is what I ate today. I'm fascinated with it. I don't know why. Like I'll look at, like, kind of like sit back for a second. Like, why am I so interested in what this girl ate today? Part of it's because I'm trying to learn how plant eaters eat, like people who like are eating plant-based. So I am interested in like, show me what you ate today. Like, what does your day look like? Because I'm trying to learn how to become like that person. So I get that, but sometimes other people and just the videos they make, I'm just like, why are people so interested in this person? I'm always running in there to Mr. Crafty. Oh my gosh, I just found this video with like 10 million views and this is what it was about. There's channels with like, some of the most popular channels on YouTube are just like little kids opening up toys. Look, here's a new toy we got at the toy store, and the kid opens it up and gets all excited, and that's a whole channel that apparently other little kids watch. So I don't know. Sometimes I wonder about YouTube and what it's doing to us as a society. But I am it's getting very honest here after 10 o'clock CST. I'm just sharing all the secrets. Summer asked me, please tell me where you got your glasses. These glasses came from Zenni.com. Well, Zenni, is it Zenni.com or ZenniOptical.com? So one of the two, but it's Zenni, Zenni. And Vanessa admits that that's a guilty pleasure of hers. Thank you, Vanessa, for being honest that you enjoy watching the mukbang videos. They have all different types. The ones that actually come from Korea, I think they're intended to make you feel like you're eating with someone. They're like being in a family. It's very communal to, you know, eat together. So it had a very sweet kind of origination, but Americans have taken that concept, and those channels are crazy. Like, watch me eat 1,000 chicken McNuggets. Watch me eat a tray full of spicy ramen noodles. It's like bright red. It's so spicy. It's just kind of like crazy, you know, over the top type of like an eating contest almost, which does not interest me, for the record. Like I said, I think chewing is that sound kind of and Angela asks me, my sweet friend Angela says, did you see the ASMR Super Bowl video? No, I did not. For those of you who have never watched an ASMR, which is now becoming a bigger and bigger thing, like it's really going mainstream, search for that on YouTube. They have channels upon channels of ASMR. If you have like anxiety or problems sleeping, it can be very relaxing. I have like a little playlist of ASMR videos that I listen to because they have people talking very soothing voices and they whisper a lot. And sometimes that can be very relaxing. You see what I'm saying? Like it's just talking lower. Some of the ASMR videos will be like play acting, like you're at a beauty parlor. You know, sit back, let me rinse your hair. And I know it sounds crazy, but it is super popular. And I did not know like I would ever be interested in something like that until I tried listening to one because somebody in the planning community mentioned it. I think it was Miss Trenchcoat. She mentioned it, so I went and looked it up because I was like, oh, I've never heard of this. And it was like a whole community, and it's gotten way bigger now. There's millions. I mean, it makes the planner community look tiny, but millions of people listen to these kind of videos, and it helps them sleep. It helps them with anxiety. It helps them with like just like self-care. It is about being like really relaxed. And to hear some of them for the first time, yeah, it can be kind of weird. Sometimes like my favorite ones are just the sound of like somebody like brushing through hair or turning pages in a book. And that's like the whole video. They're just like touching pages. They're like, they use very special microphones so it picks up everything. And some people will do the video and they'll have a special microphone and they'll just talk very soft. So again, I'm sharing so much right now. I feel like I really missed you guys. You know that? I really did. I feel like it was a really long time since the last time I did one, but it really isn't. I actually did one sooner than I did before. So, but I really missed you. And now I'm like getting all my silliness out and all the stuff that I've been like sitting back here thinking to myself all the time, my little introverted self. So now I'm just kind of blah, blah, blah. Sharing all my secrets, all my things. So, Franklin says, I think it's the fact that the people were bold enough to record it. Yes. I think for all of these things, the first time you kind of like start being a trendsetter too, you know, you must have felt kind of weird when you were like the first kind of people doing something. But, some of the videos that I come across, I'm just like, oh, I love. So my favorite ASMR channel is Gentle Whispering. She's kind of I feel like she's sort of the OG. She's like the original person who really kind of established that. She's from Russia, so she has the most delicious accent, and she just has such a soft, sweet voice. And I just really like listening to her. She's helped me go to sleep many, many times. And when you have a lot of anxiety and worries like I do, a lot of us do, just worries in general. I think women, we're natural worriers, some of us, and it's just very nice, very soothing. So, Angela, you just kicked that whole conversation off because you asked me about the video, and I did not see your response. Scrap for Therapy says, I do not like to watch people eat, nor do I like to be watched while I eat. Really can't handle hearing people eat. Agreed. Inspired by Ebony Love says, I think a lot of these kinds of videos help people not feel so lonely. Clean with me videos are very popular too. I would like to know how many of you guys like have heard some of the things I'm even mentioning. How many of you guys have heard of ASMR or seen a clean with me video? I inspired by Ebony Love. I totally agree. I love watching the clean with me videos. It is literally somebody cleaning their house or their kid's room, and they speed up the camera so that like you watch them do it really fast. And I have no idea. I've asked myself, why do you even enjoy this? Like, you don't like cleaning, but why do you enjoy watching someone else do it? Because it inspires me. It makes me start thinking like, I should really, clean this or clean that. Or I've even thought like, I should do a video sometime of just showing how we have to clean the RV, because it's interesting. It's different. Cleaning an RV is very different than living in a house or an apartment. There's a lot of things we do in the RV that it's different. And I'm like, why am I not filming a lot of this stuff that we do? Like, I want to film how we get packed up for a travel day, and then how we, when we arrive at our destination, how we unpack. Like, we have a whole process that we do. And really, like, we can unpack in less than 45 minutes. And packing up is a little different depending on what we've been doing. Usually after a late night Crafty club and we have to leave the next day, it's like a lot longer because Mr. Crafty has so much equipment out. But I do agree with you. I like watching clean with me videos, and that's your point about it being people not feeling lonely. That's when I start thinking, well, what kind of videos can I make that might seem strange to do, but really that's the case. Like, I have a lot of introverts in my group. I'm an introvert. If I enjoy watching some of these things, what makes me think that some people would enjoy watching me do some things? I just haven't figured out what the some things are, because I want to feel like I'm here. If I feel inspired to jump on here, I want to be here to make you feel like less lonely, because I totally spent the majority of my life living on my own or living with my little daughter when she was younger, and having a lot of lonely nights and a lot of lonely weekends. And so I get that. I feel like I identify more with that than I do as a married person, because I haven't been married very long. So so there's just, things like that. I think it'd be really nice to kind of generate more content that people can watch while they're like, I like watching YouTube videos while I eat my lunch. And so I relate to that. Like, I feel less lonely. I feel like I'm hanging out with somebody, watching them clean their house while I sit here and eat. So I love watching meal prep videos. People that do like plant-based cooking and meal prep, they're my favorite. I love watching those videos. I love watching people work out, because that inspires me, especially like people who are like new to working out, or like they're heavier like me and they're struggling through it. Like, I need to see that so I don't feel bad about it when I do it. Stuff like that. And Kelly says, I watch one channel that's just subscription box unboxings. Okay, Kelly, is it Alexandra Ryan? Alexandra Ryan. Is it her? Is that the subscription box unboxings channel that you watch? I need to know. Thank you for clarifying, Zenny Optical, for the question in the house. I appreciate that. Jill Ann says, can you please clarify, are you offering a planner in your shop currently? We have planner inserts in the store that are printable right now. They are, I forget the exact titles, but under planner inserts, you can find them. And I have A5 sized, we have letter size. Those are the two sizes, I believe, the only sizes that we offer planning inserts in, for sure. So that's what I was actually showing you. These sheets that I'm working on here, these are like the 2.0 versions of the current Taking Care of My Life, Taking Care of My Business planner sheets. They're based on those. And so we are working on, I want to test drive mine. I've made, Kelly and I worked on another set that would be offered to you guys. They're not as personal as mine is. Like, I have very work specific things. So we tweaked some of the things so they would be more relatable to like general planning. I personally love this type of planner. I realize that I sit at my desk a lot, so I don't really want a planner that's like small and like portable. For like planning all my content. That just doesn't, that feels weird to me, because I'm sitting at my desk so much. Having like this nice letter size planner with real estate lets me really write things out, especially for TRG. Making appointments for the dentist or the hair, you know, little stuff like that. That's kind of like something I'm trying to find, like the perfect little planner to kind of keep my personal life more recorded in. So that's like my plan. Okay, so Angela points out Ryan's toy review on YouTube made $22 million a year, and he's 7 years old. Let that sink in for a moment. Sue Williams says ASMR Harry Potter is very cool on YouTube. Diana says eating contests gross me out. Agreed. Mallory says, for me, the voice is often the thing that determines if I watch or listen or not. I agree with you, and I hate to say this, but sometimes people have a certain type of voice that's very high or scritchy, and then I can't watch. And I think of all the things people have ever complimented me on is my voice, which is so strange because I've never, you know how like you just don't ever think about it, like you don't sound like anything, but people have said, your voice is so soothing. So I guess it is. I don't know if Mr. Crafty would agree with you. I bet our husbands would be like, that's not what I hear. I'm just kidding. I'm very sweet to him most of the time. Thank you, Kay Hardwick. I love these glasses too. I really do. I got the transition lenses put on them so that when you go out in the sun, they turn like a gray. They're not black like a sunglasses, but they're like a gray. I wanted to see what that's like. And then when I did that, though, now I feel like I'm a little senior citizen, because I notice a lot of people are older that do that. They put that gray lens on there. So I'm not sure how cool that is or not. But okay, I think I just want to shop says also organizing videos on a budget. Love a clean with me inspires me to get stuff done. Excellent. A lot of people are watching the organization ones. Hi, Dion. I'm so glad to see your little face too. Carla says, I've heard of ASMR. Mallory says, I fall asleep listening to audiobooks. Yes, audiobooks. My mom loves audiobooks. Okay, I missed a lot of stuff, so I'm scrolling back up again. Michelle says the videos are of people whispering. That creeps me out a little. Yeah, it can be kind of creepy, especially when boys do it. I'm not into the boys. Vanessa says, oh no, I hate whispering voices. But in this community, everyone loves whispering voices. But like I said, there's like a variety of things. So sometimes it's like no talking and it's just the sound. It's sound effects. So it's like the sound of hair brushing. And, you know, you wouldn't think about it until you hear it, but you're like, oh, that's so soothing. It could be someone clicking their nails, like tapping their nails, and they'll record it. And they're using a very sensitive microphone, so it does sound super magnified than what you'd normally hear it. That could be a whole 15-minute video of listening to someone do that tapping. So it's kind of funny. Some of the videos are a little out there. Like, I'm not really into like a lot of the role-playing ones where you're pretending you're at somewhere. But like I said, gentle whispering is my favorite one. Hands down. I just love her voice. I love the little sound effects that she makes, and she's kind of the, I don't know if I want to say the originator of it, but kind of like the first one to do it. And Michelle says, is it like listening to heavy breathing on the phone? No, because it isn't. Not to me. I would not compare it to that. So good night, Patty. I'm sorry I missed you saying that earlier. Okay, so I missed I asked for confirmation on something, and I'm trying to look for it to see if Mari says I enjoy watching people shopping. Carla says I'm obsessed with Marie Kondo. You know, the organization ones are really cool. It is fun to watch people like make everything nice and neat and look at all their beautiful stuff. Um, Tony says yes. Oh wait, sorry. Scrap for Therapy says I would love to see the packing travel process. So we will have to do that for sure. And Karen says a typical day for you. Take us grocery shopping with you. Oh, so that's an example. I was telling Mr. Crafty that that was a lot of fun doing that live video going to Whole Foods, and I was like, we should make that part of the healthy living is showing how we're doing our grocery shopping now, because it's very different. I am so proud of my grocery cart now. It looks beautiful. I take pictures of it because it's never looked this good. Last year, Mr. Crafty and I, our shopping cart, it looked like two 12-year-olds with their parents' credit card and the house to themselves went shopping. It was like so much junk food and kind of like what do you call it when you do like shopping that's like impulsive shopping and like snacks, like just really, it's just embarrassing. Like embarrassed to go up to the checkout and check out with it, but still did. Okay. Carla says, taking care of my life are the inserts. I love them. Well, thank you, Carla. I'm glad that you do. So you hopefully will like the new updated version of them. Okay, I'm going through the Fat Girl Fed Up on IG. She is so inspiring. I think I do know that name. I think I have been on there. Thank you, Karen, for that recommendation. Kay Hardwick says, I love planner walkthroughs. I did too. I've watched many. I have not watched a planner video in a very long time. Well, let me clarify that. I have been watching planner videos, but they're more like bullet journaling and like the Hobonichi style. That's the stuff I've been looking at mostly now. And I'm like really, all of a sudden, I'm like so fascinated by some of the bullet journaling ones where I'm like, ooh, I like that idea and I like this idea. I want to find like a really super simple way of doing a bullet journal, which is probably the thing I'm going to try doing in like something small. I just want to give it a try and see how it goes. I also have, some of the regular size notebooks too. I'm sort of like in an experimentation mode right now. And then I think about my traveler's notebook and I miss that, and then I miss my rings. So it's like I'm having a hard time committing right now. But I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to that. And Dion says, I love the letter size planner so much easier to work in. Agreed. I high five you for that because yes, it is true. Good night, Angela. Good night, Liz. Everybody's leaving me. Let's see. I'm trying to... Michelle's not into the ASMR. It's okay. I won't judge you. You don't judge me, I won't judge you. Fiona says the only eating videos that we like are when people try insanely hot peppers. Freedom Deep says, I listen to sermons to sleep to, or natural rain sounds. I love the natural rain sounds. Those are some of my favorite. I love listening to that. Or there's Dappy T Keys. He plays like piano music it's like worship music, but it's piano and it's very soft and soothing. It's very, it's just very relaxing. That's another one of my favorites too. Sometimes you can even find like piano music mixed with like a babbling brook or rain. Those are some of my favorites too. Craft room tours. Kelly says, I hate to fall asleep to audiobooks because I would hate that I missed something when I fell asleep. Agreed. I probably would feel the same way. I like to watch videos about tiny houses. I watch crafty videos like Jennifer McGuire. I actually started watching her too. I actually bought a couple things after watching one of her videos. I'm trying to think what it is. Oh, here's one thing that I bought after watching her video. Is the glass media mat thing, which is very heavy. But yeah, I ended up buying one of those, Melissa, because I was like, oh, I love that, how easy it would be to clean off paint and it would just like wipe right off. So I thought I'm going to give that a try, because I really enjoyed I really enjoyed that idea. And Mallory says that Whole Foods shop with Paul was entertaining and very, very helpful. I'm glad. We were very helped by that time with him too. And like he's very cool, this whole little service. So he charges like a set fee for that package, where like, I'll go with you to the grocery store. I'll teach you how to shop. There happens to be a Whole Foods here. So I'll teach you how to shop Whole Foods, and then I'll come home and I'll actually prepare the meal. So I learned how to prepare some things that I had never prepared before, or use some of the products that I would never have reached for. So that was awesome. And I'm so glad that he let us record that live and be able to share it with you. He was very, very fun. And I'm glad that a lot of you guys really enjoyed that too. So I just want to Scrap says, I love all your videos. I would watch you clean toilets. Aw, we should put that on a t-shirt.
On it.
Thank you very much. I think that's funny, because like I would watch somebody do certain things. So I'm like, it can't hurt. I'll try. If I get like 100 views, I'll know that wasn't the right, video for you guys. That wasn't my audience. Inspired by Ebony Love says, don't feel bad, Corey. I have 3 times came home with Trix, Captain Chunk, and Cocoa Pebbles, and it was all for me. Remember the days of like your mom was in control of the cereal, you got it at home. So Vanessa says, I love watching Alexandria Ryan unboxing videos. Just started watching her. Me too. I think she is so adorable. I love her. And then I signed up for a boxing subscription. I wanted to try the Fit Fab Fun. So I did get one. So you have to be careful who you watch, because you can end up spending money because, you watch it and you're like, oh, that's amazing. And I signed up for Ipsy, but only because many years ago, I used to love the beauty YouTube videos. That's actually how I got hooked into YouTube, was watching those videos many moons ago. So I love the fact Ipsy's still around, and I thought, I'm going to try it. It's only $10. I like to listen to Bob Ross. He's the real OG of ASMR, right? He is. I even have a Bob Ross shirt, but when I went to cut it up, I cut it wrong, so I can't wear it now, because it's got like under the arm, I cut it way, way, way too deep, so it shows my entire bra on the side. That's why I asked Paula to cut all my shirts for me now, because I obviously, even after watching a video, didn't do it very good. I love watching Dollar Tree hauls. I have watched some of those myself. What size is your Hobonichi? Lisa asks. It is the A6 size. It's a baby. It's the Techno. That's an important, it's the Techno. And it's like an A6, which I was not as familiar with that size until now, and now I get it. And I really like the A6. It's a very nice size. It's very portable. So Amanda Rachley, I follow her. Yep, I have watched her. She is fun to watch. Some of the bullet journalers are just like, I love watching them speed up, like a sped up video, and you're watching them like do all their handwriting and everything super fast. Hi, Lady J Crafty. What is our topic for tonight? Well, apparently it's not crafting. Tonight's topic, it's a very good question. I have an injury from food prep today. So my hand is very burning right now. So I was not up to crafting like as I had hoped. So I made a list of like little topics I just kind of went over for the night, and just getting feedback, input, talking about some new live shows that I want to do. Talking about one of them being that would be more like what we're doing right now, which is just talking about everything and nothing. So I did fail you guys on my end of this little craft night. I apologize. I really want, I did hope that the burning would go away. Other problem too is I have a cut on my thumb apparently, and then that is where another area that the little burning is, and that's no good. Okay, Bob Ross had a totally soothing voice. Yes, I totally agree. He was so fun. I used to love watching him as a little kid. And the way he painted trees with his scraper, like not even using a brush, but he like scraped them on. I always thought that was so fascinating. I would never have thought that's how you got one of those trees up there. And then he would stipple his brush and give them the, make happy little trees. But boy, he'd start, with his canvas, and at first you're just like, ugh. And then by the time he was done, it was like, oh, yes, he was wonderful to watch. Just, I'd be so curious what he was like. Him and Mr. Rogers. You never heard any scandals about either one of them. They never got caught up in any kind of scandals or anything like drama. And they just, both of them seemed like such sweet men, very sweet spirits. They just were like, I want to put beauty out into the world. It was just really wonderful. I'm really glad that I grew up getting to watch both of them. Tony says that she loves watching old westerns when she goes to bed. The sounds of the horses and wagons. That is interesting. I wouldn't have thought of that. Dion says, I love your planner printout. It's my favorite, especially when you're on a budget. I agree. I personally, when it comes to planners, like some of the printable stuff is like my favorite because if you collect different planner printables, you can kind of like make your own like Franken planner and kind of like take the best of like all the different types of planner inserts out there. There's stuff on Etsy. So that's kind of one fun thing. And then you have it forever. You've bought it one time and you have it forever. If you want to crank that thing out year after year and that's the planner you use, you can. When you think about, like, to me, some planner setups are very expensive. I did not realize this. I don't know why it never occurred to me. But like a traveler's notebook setup is very expensive. Let's just take the traveler notebook out of let's just focus on the inserts. So I bought 5 inserts to put into my traveler's notebook. The 5 inserts at, like, say on average, it's like $7.50 to $8 an insert, because I wouldn't buy one from like Hobby Lobby. The paper's cheap. It's never going to be the kind of format I would be interested in. So I'm going and looking specifically out there for specific types of inserts. So when I do that, and you're thinking about 5 times, $7, $8, that's $40 just for inserts. And then how long do those last? That's not even for the whole year. That's just like maybe if you're lucky, you're going to get one season out of them. So if you think about it, you do the math, like if you were really like into your traveler's notebook, you could end up spending over $100 just on inserts for the year. That finally occurred to me when I was really considering using that as my planning system for the whole year. And I started doing the math because I put some in my cart and I was like, holy smokes, I never thought about it. But if I had to keep changing those out, if I really stuck to it and used it all year long, that's how much I would spend. And I don't think I could justify spending $100 on a planner. And let's face it, I don't think that I would make it the whole year because I always think this is it. This is going to be the planner I use. And then I change my mind because something happens, because I figure out another way of doing something, or I want to do it this way. So what I decided was to sort of treat my planners like how I'm going to break up my day. So for a chunk of the day, I'm working on TRG. So for that chunk of the day, I'm just going to grab this planner and work on it and use this. So for that takes care of like my work life. So I just need kind of like a planner that sort of takes care of the evening and morning. So like buff it, on either side buffers it. So what type of planner does that need to be? Can I just use a bullet journal and just sort of go as, make it, design the pages as I go? I was never interested in doing that before, but I think I'm warming up to the idea, especially when I see very, very simple layouts, and now I'm like, yes, I could do that. So you guys I'm really behind this conversation. Oh, Kelly says Target has a Bob Ross board game. Mallory says, tonight has been the first late night crafty club, no chat club. No fails here. It really was the late night chat club. But I do feel bad about that. I'm sorry, guys. Lisa says, don't apologize. As soon as I say I'm sorry, she says, don't apologize. I just saw it. Someone just said that they were at church, which tells me that you are an Australian. Brenda says, OMG, I was at church and totally forgot about your tonight, Corey. That's okay. Oh, Brenda, hi, my twinsy. You were at church tonight, so you had an evening service or evening activity planned. Good night, Suzanne. Good night, good night, good night. I have not seen the Mr. Rogers movie. It's on like Netflix or something, right? Netflix or Amazon. Because now that you say that, I do think I've seen a trailer for it. Denise says Captain Kangaroo too. Oh yeah, Captain Kangaroo. Good night, Miss Mandy. I bet it is the frozen tundra where you are right now, girl. Good night. Sending you love. I love Mr. Rogers. I grew up watching him in Sesame Street. Me too. And after Sesame Street was over, then there was the electric. It totally went out of my head. Oh my gosh. I can't believe it just ran. As soon as I went to say it, electric. The electric. Oh my gosh. How am I forgetting that? Help me out, you guys. The electric something. And it had Morgan Freeman in it. Morgan Freeman was actually the Electric Company. Thank you. Jeez. The Electric Company was also a favorite show of mine after Sesame Street. It came on right after that. And it had Morgan Freeman was one of the actors on it when he was young, in his like 20s. And he always played that assistant to what's her name? She was a Hispanic actress, very feisty. I can't remember her name. Rita something. Rita Moreno? Is that her name? And she was like a director, and she would like he would hold a little sign and she'd smack it with her little like a little horse whip, and he would like cower, like super scared of her. That's what I remember. I don't remember a lot from that show, but I do remember that. And I also remember it was kind of groovy. It was a little psychedelic in some of the things that they did. But I remember that one little boy and how he had to remember his grocery list. It was like a loaf of bread, a dozen eggs, and a stick of butter. And he had to keep repeating that all the way to the store and all the way back, or just to the store to remember. But he got like distracted by different things happening on the road as he was going, walking to it. That was one of the things I remember too. So I do remember a few things. The Electric Company. Lady J. Crafty says, I'm not really a planner girl. I bought one once and it was a waste of money. You know what? Honestly, sometimes just to be completely honest, I reach for my phone sometimes and just put my stuff in here. Cause like, if all I have is 2 things to remember, or 2 dates that I've made, I'm just going to put it in my phone. I'm not going to, oh my gosh. Okay, I just got let me see here. Sheriff John. Was Sheriff John from Captain Kangaroo? I feel like I don't remember Captain Kangaroo very well. I do remember that there was Mr. Green Jeans, but I don't remember much of all. So Mary helped me out. She did say company. Angela, thank you. Gina, yes, thank you. Thank you, girls. For some reason, that word just eluded me. But you guys all remember, my Gen Xers. And then there was Romper Room and, oh yeah, Hey You Guys and Zoom. And do you guys remember the New Zoo review? I remember watching that before going to school in the mornings, and it had the big giant, it was like it was a guy and a girl, and they lived in this little village, I guess you'd call it. And then there was like a big owl. There was like people who were wearing big animal suits that also lived there. See, we're just all having just a silly conversation. I don't remember Zoom. At least I don't think I do. Unless that was the show that had, there's one thing I do remember, and it was, his name was Gary Gnu. And do you guys remember Gary Gnu? I don't remember if that was the show from Zoom, but there was like a weird kind of like quirky show, and it came on right around the New Zoo review. They were like on at the same time, and he'd say, and you're watching the news, and this is Gary Gnu, and he would be like a newscaster, and he was like a weird looking creature, kind of like Gonzo from the Muppets. Dude, I don't even know. Thank you, Brenda Maldonado. Rita Moreno, my compatriot. I figured if you were still listening, you would know exactly who I was talking about. The fiery Latino that she was. Is she still alive? I feel like I haven't seen or heard of her in a very long time. And I can't remember all the stuff that she was in, but I remember her very well from that show because she was very scary. And please, I do need somebody to confirm for me where Gary Gnu fits, because I honestly do not remember. And I'm having a hard time remembering this Zoom thing. And that's all I got, is that weird. Good night, Karen. And thank you for hanging out with us for so long. And Tasha says, wow, memories. I agree. That's the really super fun thing about how we're all sort of like, the majority of us are kind of in that same age brackety thing. At least we can all kind of have some general memories of this time frame. And we were all little girls listening, watching these little shows. Jody, thank you. A loaf of bread, a container of milk, and a stick of butter. Thank you. I remember that little kid. And I think he had like a little, he had like a little cap over his head, so I feel like his eyes were kind of, and he was probably walking through like a really urban city neighborhood, and he was, as he was walking, I don't know if it was his like imagination, but he started seeing things on the street kind of like change and evolve, and like all I remember is that he got very distracted by things that he should have been focused on his list, and then he got distracted by different things on the street in this little animated cartoon. And I'm so glad that you remember that too. So, Romper Room, Zoom. Gina says, yes, love the New Zoo review. They even had a little dance that they would sing. I don't remember the words, but I do remember. Oh, so Sheriff John was another children's show in the 50s and 60s. Okay, so I need to know, okay, Jillian, I have a question for you. I'm going to share with you guys a little snippet of my childhood, like my life in my family. So if you are talking about that show in the 50s and 60s, do you remember the show Howdy Doody at all? Now that was obviously before our time, but I know it was a show in the 50s, possibly the 60s. And apparently there was a little song on that show that made a very big impression on my mom. And we sing this song as a family and have my entire life. And I feel like when my mom is gone, that me and my brother must carry on this tradition. And it's been a bit embarrassing, I will admit this. So every time there's a gathering and people sing happy birthday, at the end of the song, my mom and dad would always start singing our little song. And I don't care where we were, if we're out in public, if you're at somebody else's house for a party, our family sings that song together, and our kids have all learned the song together, and me and Mark sing that song to our grown kids now on their birthdays. So the song goes like this. All the monkeys in the zoo give their best regards to you. Happy birthday to you. And I asked my mom finally, I don't know, just a few years ago, I finally asked her, Mom, where does that song come from? Like, we've been singing this song our whole lives and we don't know. And she said it came from that show on Howdy Doody, the Howdy Doody show. And I'm just trying to imagine my mom in her 20s convincing my dad, we're going to sing this song together. This is going to be our song. But that is all I've ever known, is that after Happy Birthday's done, my family pipes in with that extra little song. So Diana Hall says, I'm a boomer. So if you're a boomer, then I am asking you if you remember that song at all, because it apparently was a song from that show. Tasha says, Schoolhouse Rock. Totally. And also, hang on a second. Okay, so this is one of the shirts. I've bought a few new shirts lately, and this is like one of the shirts that I recently got. This is one of my favorite of the Schoolhouse Rock songs. This one, I loved Inner Planet Janet. Inner Planet Janet was a galaxy girl. And the one that always made me feel so depressed and sad was the one about pollution. That always made me feel bad. And now I kind of feel like that's where we're headed. Okay. So little bit NJ78 says, OMG, the Newsy Review is my absolute favorite before school. It came on really early in the morning because I watched it before school too. Thank you, Gina Karras. It was the Great Space Coaster. That's the one that had Gary Gnu. Mark, do you remember Gary Gnu? I know you're so much older than I am.
Oh, come on.
He's only like 4 years older, but I love to tease him and make him feel like I'm so young compared to him. Weren't you already in college then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was.
Here is the news with Gary Gnu. And he always said it that way. So this show is just taking a very different journey than I originally planned. I was actually, had my Crafty playbook ready to go until the, honey, would you mind bringing the milk back?
Okay.
Thank you.
It's been 3 hours. We could
call
it.
I'm not even paying attention to the time.
I'm falling asleep.
I feel like we're at a slumber party right now. That's what I feel like. Mr. Crafty said he's falling asleep, and he's my tech guy, so I guess I have to go, everybody.
I can show you how to push that red button.
So Angela, thank you. You Googled it. I love Fraggle Rock. I remember Fraggle Rock. The Doozers were the best thing about Fraggle Rock because they were so adorable. Brenda says, yes, she is alive. Oh, good. What about The Land Before Time and the Sleek Stacks? Yeah, the Sleek Stacks were those weird, creepy, amphibian-looking things that didn't really talk English, and they had those weird hands that they'd put down on the little lit-up rock. It was a weird show. There was a lot of weird shows. In the afternoon, the Sid and Marty Krofft shows, those were those were a bit crazy. Oh, she was in West Side Story. Thank you. That's right. I'm not very good with my musicals. My mom would have told me that in a heartbeat. She's always been very good at that. Thank you. So look at us. We're just talking about stuff. I do feel like we're at a giant slumber party right now. Hi, Julie. Janet says, didn't the New Zoo Review have Henrietta Hippo? Yes. And she had like a tutu. Like that's what she had on. This is fun. It's nice to remind ourselves of these things so that like as we get older, we'll just keep reminding each other that we don't forget. So Gina says, yes, howdy doody. Who did I ask to confirm that? Was it Jill that I asked to confirm if she remembered that song? It's howdy doody time. Yes, I remember that part. See, I remember that. Thank you, Jill. Howdy Doody was a little before my time. I was born in 59. Okay, so you were at the very end of it. I would just be curious because I just want to double check my mom. I don't have any confirmation where this song came from, but I just think it's really funny that that has been such a hallmark, such a weird little family thing that we've done, and I never questioned it until just recently when I was like, hey, where did that come from? Brenda says HR Puff and stuff. Oh, those shows were so strange. And like Sigmund and the Sea Monsters, who, I'm sorry, as like a kid who got bullied a lot, I couldn't stand the way that his brothers treated him and bullied him and was so mean to him. That used to make me so mad. My little justice meter, like I wanted to see them get their little butts kicked because they were always so mean to their brother. So, the Elephant Show, I am not remembering that. I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. I don't remember the banana splits as well. I also know that there was a weird one where they were in a garden and they had bees and flowers. And there was this really weird dude who wore a purple suit and he had a bald head and orange hair. And I get them all confused in my mind which one belonged, but I think he was weird. And then there was another one with Jimmy and the Magic Flute. I think Jimmy and the Magic Flute belong with that weird guy with the bald head right here. I think I'm confusing two different shows. There's a lot of weirdo shows in the 70s. Let's all agree. What's your function? What is it? How'd it go? Conjunction, junction. What's your function? Something about naming clauses. I'm not good at any of that stuff. I couldn't tell you what a clause is if there was money involved. My favorite middle school history teacher used Schoolhouse Rock videos in class. Aw. I don't think we ever watched any in class. The other one I really liked, which was in that movie, which I love that they put it in that movie. They had Winona Ryder sing it, the song in Reality Bites is, I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. I always felt bad for him. He looked so sad when he was sitting on the steps. Let's see. And then there was the girl in the Superman kind of costume, and she was singing about suffrage. And they were suffering during suffrage. She was obviously like, this was probably like the beginning of Women's Lib. They had to get that one in there to get us little girls all into it. Because that would have been during the time where like Women's Lib would have been a big thing. So, but I do remember that she was in there, and she was kind of, they were kind of showcasing some of the founding women that had kind of helped women have the right to vote and all of that. I'm trying to think what else they did. There was the pollution one, which showed our earth getting all black and awful, and it was like covered up in garbage, and it was really scary. And I feel like I'm missing one that was important to me. I can't think of all of them. There was also interjection or excitement. That one. I just don't remember what that one was. It was like a little, it was like each person kind of stood up and sung their little part. And I just remember that right now. Interjection or excitement. Something about an exclamation point. So it must have been teaching you about grammar and how you use different punctuation to do your sentences. And there was also one about the body and how I just remember that, something about the body. And you know what I just remembered? I have to get up tomorrow to go to the Valentine's tea. I gotta be on my Jody says, it does feel like a sleepover. Somebody passed the Love's Baby Soft. That was my first perfume as a little kid. Sleaze Stack. Tony, thank you very much for clarifying. Lady J says, I've enjoyed this. I like reminiscing old shows and movies. It's fun. Totally agree. Which is why I will be renaming the show tonight in honor of what really happened, the Late Night Chat Club. Sigmund and the Sea Monster. Wow, Rita Moreno is 87. Okay, have I caught up? Jimmy was on his drugs. Jimmy was an HR pup and stuff. Okay, thank you. Karen says, I'm trying to figure out bald head and orange hair. So he was like in this creepy little purple suit. Like it was like with like tails and everything. This is my little memory. I'm based on this. And he had makeup on, so he looked really creepy. And he had a bald head up here, but I feel like he had orangish hair like around his head. He might have had some kind of facial hair here, but he was really scary, and he basically was always trying to steal that little flute from Jimmy. I do not remember his name, but he was the bad guy. He was the villain. And I also remember another villain named Witchy Poo. I do not know if they were in the same one together or if they were in separate ones. These are all like teeny little fragments I'm trying to string together. Hooking up words and phrases and clauses. Thank you. That's it. Sherry, thank you. The Boogaloos. They were the ones with the bees and they were in a garden, and they were like kids, like teenagers. They were older, and they were wearing like funky 70s. We grew up in a weird time. We grew up in a very weird time, and I grew up in Southern California, so I feel like a lot of that like drug culture was a little bit more prevalent where I lived. A lot of that like easygoing, everybody have a good time kind of. I feel like that was a big influence in my just remembering as a kid. I feel like that had an influence. I think geography counts. I think people were different depending on where you were in the country. I think the Midwest was probably Midwest and the South were probably safe. But you know how Californians are. It's really weird. It's like this milk is it's like resisting my hand or something, which might be the oil. Because they said, so here's a little tip, everybody. If you do get jalapeno oil on your hand or on your fingers, do not try and wash it off, because they said do not put water on it because it will spread the oil and make it worse. They said that what you have to do is neutralize the burning first, like neutralize the jalapeno oil. So that's when you stick your hand in some milk. Do not do as I did. But we can all prevent it by just putting on plastic gloves. That is the PSA for tonight. Davy and Goliath. I remember Davy and Goliath. They were like was Davy and Goliath like a Christian? Did it have like that component to it where it had like a morality type of thing? I feel like it was always, or am I thinking of something else? I felt like it had like this component of like trying to help you be like virtuous is what I'm thinking of. Or am I thinking of like Goofus and Gallant or something? The names are all blending together at this point. Interjections. Does anyone remember Yuck Mouth? I do. It was about brushing your teeth so you don't be a yuck mouth. 3 of these things are kind of the same, and just one of these things doesn't belong here. Can you tell me which one it is? It's time to play our game. I don't remember that exactly, but one of these things just doesn't belong here. One of these things. 3 of these things are kind of the same. Good night, Melissa. Okay. I'm getting closer to the... So Mallory says, I remember Witchy Poo. So you guys down in Australia watched it too. That's interesting. I would not have guessed that would, I wouldn't have thought that. She was also in HR Prep and stuff, so I do remember that part correctly. Brenda says, Bosom Buddies. I remember that show. Kip and Henry. Lady J says Muttley. He's the one that went... He was that dog that laughed like so sinister. I remember that. He kind of had like a little bit of an Ernie laugh. And he was always up to no good. Always trying to like sabotage Dastardly and Muttley. Yep. They were always sabotaging. They were like in it was a show about racing, like car racing. Look at us. We are all over the place with our conversation. Yes, Dave and Goliath was a Christian show. Thank you, Brenda. Then I guess I did get some little Christian influence in my life, because I do remember watching that. I did not see it, and I just suspected it. I don't really remember it exactly, but I'm very glad you confirmed that for me. Thank you, Celia, for the tip. It was Christian, because when I was a little kid, for a period of time, I went to a Christian little daycare center right before school. So, because my mom had to like get up really, really early. She worked at a stockbroker in San Diego. And you know how stockbrokers are, like they have to start their days super early because they have to stay on the same time frame as like the East Coast, because when the market opens up, they got to be on it. So she had no choice but to take me and my little brother to a little daycare center that was like a couple doors down from in our neighborhood, and it was Christian. And so the only Christian influence I had as a child was this lady, and she'd play some songs on her piano, but for some reason something clicked in my brain right there. I was like, there was some kind of Christian thing going on there. So that was God being sneaky and trying to get me on the team early. Wow, Jody just shared, remember Rita Moreno was just in the news last year for wearing the same dress at the Oscars that she wore in 1962 for West Side Story. Dang. Okay, good night, Lady J. Okay, good night, Janice. Carolyn says, I was an early 80s baby. Luckily, I still had some amazing Saturday mornings. Lots of great cartoons. There really was great cartoons back then. They had the bugs, like Bugs Bunny had the, because I remember being that age, and Bugs Bunny would have like his whole, like, I don't know if it was like an hour or 2 hours. So he had his whole program that was on Saturday mornings. And I think that was a big one that I really loved watching, was the Bugs Bunny feature. I can't think of any other Saturday morning cartoons. Let me think. I remember Scooby-Doo as being after school. I don't remember that being Saturday morning, but I could be wrong. Mallory says the Wacky Races. That's where Muttley and Dastardly were on. And Penelope Pit Stop. The show has run amok, girls. Cynthia says, I'm a West Coast girl too. Washington State. And yep, the 70s was crazy. Agreed. We had some very interesting, what is that called? When you are influenced. Thank you. Angela says, I loved Shazam. I remember Shazam. Electro Woman and Dyna Girl. Okay, I hear Mr. Crafty in there. He just sighed very heavily. Are you really sleepy? Okay, I have to call it. Let's see, I don't even know what time it is. What time is it? 11:12. Well, 3 hours of chit chat. Not as what I had planned when I announced that we would be doing this. And I even announced it, like I gave you guys like 2 weeks, I think. I tried to give you like 2 weeks warning that we would do this show. I was very prepared. So, but the good news is, you guys, bonus, there is another Late Night Crafty Club show coming at you. So, not this next Friday, but the Friday after, I will be having another Late Night Crafty Club show. You are getting 2 this month. And next time will be a lot less soaking my hand in milk and a lot more crafting, okay? Next time I'll come out of the gate all crafty and less chit-chat, because I think we got a lot of our chit-chat out of our system tonight. So 2 weeks from tonight, you will be getting another Late Night Crafty Club. You will be seeing the advertisement for that probably this weekend or early next week. So mark it in your planner. Same time, same bat channel. You can watch it in Facebook or the YouTube channel. If you are watching the replay, and I will be super surprised if you got this far after all these antics, watching it as a replay. But if you did, I'm so proud of you and thank you. I hope that you're able to join us for a live show, because they are a lot of fun. Sometimes the show apparently can go off the rails and we can reminisce and have fun and remember being little girls watching our favorite shows as children. So just remember that I will be hammering out the details for Chit Chat with Corey. I'm going to get a little cute little logo made for that one. So I'm going to start folding in the Chit Chat with Corey, which will be more of like what we did tonight, kind of more of a general thing. I'm going to talk about different things just so we can have fun together, and it doesn't have to be crafty. You can craft while I do it, but I'm not going to be crafting. I'm just going to be doing this, like just talking about different topics. One of which will definitely be healthy living, because I need some encouragement, and we can share tips and what's working for us and stuff like that. And then I will be having another craft show, Crafternoon with Corey, and that will be an afternoon, like during the week, afternoon-based show to help some of our international viewers. Hopefully that works out. I'm not sure time frame wise, but just giving an alternative option for that. And I don't know when I'm going to kick those off specifically. I need to revisit the calendar on that. And I just appreciate how I just love the fact that so many of you guys just hang out to the end, and I just always have such a great time with you girls, and it was a lot of fun for us to kind of take a trip down memory lane together and remember all the good times. So just be aware, I'm going to remind you all again, that the Cruising with the Reset Girl, which is going to happen in 2020, is very much like this. It's a lot of fun. It's bonding and connecting with women that you have a lot of similarities to. We all have this like common creativity, love and interest in creativity and doing those things. But then we get to have like fun, like craft sessions together, and then having an all girls disco party in our jammies and getting to feel like you're 16 years old again. So the fun I have here, that's what it reminds me of. It's like getting to go in real life on this fun adventure at sea together. So please consider that. We are going to go ahead and move what we had hoped to do this year. We're going to move it to 2020 so that it gives people a chance to kind of like plan and budget, because Miss Paula of Crafty Destinations lets people make payments towards their adventures and stuff. So that is very helpful. And she's going to be doing a poll from the cruisers we just had to kind of get like feedback on like, hey, where does everybody want to cruise to? What do the majority of people want to cruise? Do they want to cruise from the West Coast, East Coast, or Central like we did last time? And just kind of get a read on like, is it a 5-day cruise, a 7-day cruise? Maybe we just didn't pick a good, like maybe all the variables didn't just match up very well. So we just want to make good decisions about the kind of adventure we offer. So that we will more information and details about that cruise will be coming when more details have been provided to her and she can make that decision. So but I'm just going to keep plugging it because I do not want you guys to miss out on the Mr. Crafty. Was that not super fun?
It was. It was a lot of fun.
When we were leaving the boat, I was like, I wish we could stay 2 more days. Like, I didn't want to leave. I
was looking for like 14 to 30 day cruises after that.
He loved it so much. He's like, what else can we cruise to? But it was so much fun. And that dance party was like, to the day I die, I will never forget that dance party. It was so fantastic. It was so fun.
And I just watched you all having fun.
So, and it's all girls. It's just us. And you can bring your craft supplies and you can just craft. You don't even have to dance. So, but that's going to be in 2020. Okay. And so, so I'm so glad for those of you who were able to join me live, that so many of you did. I'm so happy to see your little faces as always. And just mark your planners, because 2 weeks from tonight, we will be doing another live on Facebook and YouTube. And if you're watching the replay, God bless you for hanging out with me this long in a replay. But I love your faces, you guys. I'm so blessed to have you guys in my life. I truly, truly am. You guys you bless me. You make me feel less lonely. And I hope that I am doing the same for you. So I will see you guys soon. Keep nice and warm if you are in the wintry tundra. And if you're like in the nice warm southern state, then I hope that you are enjoying yourself as well. Just different experiences, but I hope we're all having crafty fun. So look to my YouTube channel. I will be beginning to pump out videos very shortly. I'm very excited about that. Mr. Crafty's got my camera set up above, so I'm like getting ready to get him cranked out. I love your faces. I will see you guys in the the next late night crafty club. Good night, everybody. Get good sleep.